phenomenal.
それでは早速全速前進
You wanna know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Brian, and I am joined by Alice.
Brian Smith, you're a louse.
I'm joined by Nico.
Y'all mind if I erupt from the earth here? I gotta erupt from the earth. And yeah, later when I leave, I'm making a different hole.
And we have a storied guest in Stephen Hero from Giant Robot FM.
Hello, I'm Paradigm City's worst negotiator. Thank you for having me.
This week, our episode is about how I have one rule if you want to cast on my pod. You must wear black. It's the Big O Season 1. Showtime. I'm wearing black. Steven's the only one who's not wearing black.
Apologies.
Oh,
I do have like
boy.
half of my closet, which is like black t-shirts.
The one day you decided to opt towards light, we're like, get out of here.
You're the Beck of the pod because you're wearing opposite colors.
I not to invoke my memes, which I'm sure I'll do time and time again. I once made a meme. It was the sexual harassment meme with the conventionally attractive gentleman and the unconventionally attractive gentleman and the different responses. I had for the repulsed look, I had Beck and going, I'm going to be your villain this episode. And then for the the attracted version, it was Schwartzwald.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So good.
I got a lot of heat for that, but I stand by it.
Real. Me when Beck is on screen, boo.
In this house, we stand Schwartzwald.
Do we?
Yeah.
In every house. I think I don't think there's any, I don't think I've ever heard anyone on Earth say one bad thing about Schwartzwald.
I don't like his pink eye. There's something. One of his eyes is pink, and I don't like it.
Has been through so much. Have you said let's launch into it, or did we immediately derail you?
Oh, I said Showtime instead because
okay, good. Yeah. I wanted to double check.
This was produced in 1999 by Sunrise. We are watching the first 13 episodes that comprise season 1. I'm not going to talk very much about production, and the reason for that is because there are two zines. Well, hold on. I'm trying to get the timeline in my head. By the time this comes out, there will be one zine and a second zine about to happen, I think. Because it's dropping at the beginning of October.
Yeah, assuming in the next week I get my shit together. By mid-September, you'll have like pictures of the beautiful layouts of our new zine, at least a draft of the cover art, and a bunch of ordering information.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those zines are like about like when we do our little block of like this is how this got made, etc. Like those zines are a more detailed version of that, and also they're really pretty and they have great production value, and you should get them. So
yeah, I will say it was great fun. I finished watching the 13th episode, and I went, okay, well, that happened. And I got up and went to my bookshelf, and I got out of my magazine holder my Giant Robot FM Big O zine Part 1, which I hadn't read yet because I'd never seen the Big O. And I just sat down and I just read that cover to cover real quick to get some context.
Yeah.
That was move 1.
Oh, that's awesome. It warms my heart to hear.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get into a little bit of stuff as we go on, but really I want to just elide that stuff and make people buy the zines to get that information if they're listening and they want it.
Our Senpai podcast already did that work. Go read it.
Or and then also like I actually have not listened to it yet because I'm a bad friend, but I have heard that Giant Robot FM's Big O coverage is some of the best podcasting of all time. I've literally heard that from multiple people.
We were blessed with some great guests, particularly our history episodes. We had Andy Engineer online, who runs the Big O archive, on the first history episode and the second history episode. Mm-hmm. And for the second one, for the season 2 history episode, we also had Mike Toole on, which was a pleasure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I will say the Big O Archive, another great website. If you enjoy the OSG website, kind of Web 1.0 aesthetic, go to the Big O Archive, because that is a classic website, and also it just looks really good. It's so well designed. It's so full of information. Like, it's a great website.
So what did you guys, starting with Alice, what is everybody's history with Big O? Let's unpack that.
I was one of the people who watched it on Toonami. I was one of those people who got into it through that, watched it late night multiple times. I've revisited it since then, and it remains just like, I'm going to be honest, this is, when I think of Mecha, it's Evangelion, it's Pat Labor. Like, this is just so good. This is critical.
This is another one of those when we came together and wanted to do a mech podcast. Like, this is one of the ones that came to my head instantaneously. I was like, we must be doing this one.
It was like a secondary thought that, yes, we're going to do Big O. And I think by when we were starting, that was when Giant Robot FM had already done the first one.
Yes.
And so, like, I was like, oh, that's cool. They've already done it, so we don't need to, because they do good history episodes. And then I'm like, now that we're here, I'm like, I'm glad we're finally touching on it so it can get... What I want to say is, I was really excited on this rewatch, because I'm like, of what we have covered on OSG, so much of it feeds into the Big O. I wish we had more Giant Robo background, but I feel like we have enough to inform why this is great.
I feel like it was essential and a great idea that we watched Giant Robo before we watched Big O. I think that was such a good idea.
I'm glad we read Mazinger Z.
Yeah.
It's Giant Robo is like the secret sauce, I guess. The secret key to unlock a lot of like the production connections between the Big O and Giant Robo. Yeah. Because Katayama and Sato, like the two big creatives, presumably they met on the production of the Big O. I can't confirm that, but they definitely worked together on the Big O. Not the Big O, sorry, Giant Robo. I'm getting my wires crossed again.
Yeah. They both have O's in them. They both have big O's in them. Nico, did you have anything? I know that this was like one of the kind of blank spots for you.
Yeah, so all I knew about this was I saw a bunch of ads for it on the various DVD collections that I had in my childhood. Like, this was one that you would see clips of it in like compilations from different like anime licensors who were releasing box sets, and they'd be like, hey, you can get this, this, and this, and the Big O and everything. And I was always like, I was under the mistaken impression that the Big O was like Initial D for some reason. I got those wires crossed in my head.
All those driving shots.
It was about driving. And I mean, to be fair, notable car in this one.
I have the car on the mech list.
The car is fuck.
I will not be not counting that as a mech.
But yeah, so like it's something I'd always seen and I knew the name, but like it took a long time for me to even find out that this was a mech anime. And then when I did, I was like, oh, okay. And I was just like, we'll get to it eventually. And sure enough,
we did. I am sure, Steven, I'm sure you have absolutely nothing to say. This is not something you have any experience with whatsoever.
The Big O is one of those shows where if I were to stop podcasting tomorrow, I would come. One of like the 10% of shows I cover on the podcast, we cover on the podcast that I will return to and can return to forever. It's up there. It's top tier mecha for me. It's up there with the two Pat Labor films, Ava, Turn A Gundam, cite other Tomino shows. It's just, it's so comforting to return to Paradigm, even though theoretically, on paper, Paradigm is a very inhospitable and uninviting place. But it's such a dreamlike feel it just captures me. Coupled with a beautiful soundtrack and great production all around. Late 90s cell animation doesn't get better than that.
I totally agree. We said that about Giant Robo. Like, I don't think anime ever looked better or will ever look as good as this era of anime.
I would take reused cell animations every day over whatever the CGI mechs and Price of Smiles were doing. Every day.
I mean, that's a low bar. That's a low bar. Point.
That's a really low bar. But yeah, I watched this on Toonami. So Toonami did a really interesting thing with this, which is that they just aired every episode back to back, one per night, like for a week in April. And I remember, this is like so crystallized in my mind because this is the same era for me that I watched Eureka 7 in, where it was like, I didn't have cable at my mom's house. I could only watch stuff like this at my dad's house. So like the original run that they did on Toonami, I saw like 1 or 2 episodes of, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. I had no idea what was going on because I was also like 11 or whatever. And then when Cartoon Network decided to produce the second season on their own, Adult Swim started airing the first season a bunch on Adult Swim, and Adult Swim was the block of TV I could watch really regularly because I was at my dad's house late enough that it was on. So that was when I like watched the whole thing all the way through. I don't think I love a consistent and well captured vibe that you get a lot of mileage out of. There is almost no television on Earth except for maybe Eureka 7 that is so incredibly itself in its aesthetics, in its sound, in everything that happens on the screen, in its color palette, in like all of the themes that happen. There is like nothing that's like so itself, so 100% on the gas the whole time as Big O. And that is, I just respect that so much. And Eureka 7 is very similar. It is just the vibe they have captured. They have their hands around a vibe and they never let go. And they manage to do so much with it all the time. It's just spectacular to me. So that was like one of the things that captured me about it. And that's why it's like been in my memory this whole time.
I will say this was a show, and I'd never seen the other show that I ended up Googling, but this was a show that immediately made me Google, when did Batman the Animated Series come out?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I immediately was like, I'm feeling some crossover. And then, yeah, the context that I got from the GRFM zine, like, really helped in terms of that, in terms of, like, the animation cross-pollination that was happening. But, like, I've never even seen Batman the Animated Series, but I was like, oh, this is really doing some tonal stuff and some stylistic stuff that looks familiar to me, even with just, like, a glancing pass.
You see that yellow to swamp green gradient that they just, like, paste on the sides of buildings? That is Batman.
Well, and I was seeing the shape of the hands. Like, Dorothy, I think, is one of the few people who didn't really have, like, the claw hands often.
The claws.
But, yeah, it was really interesting. And a lot of, like, the background characters and stuff, that style was really interestingly reminiscent more of, like, I think Western animation than what I was used to for, like, background characters in anime.
Some of the character design is also just crazy. Like, that's something that the Batman the Animated Series also does, where it's just like, there's some of these guys, why is his head shaped like that?
Because we're a cartoon and we can do that shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let me give a synopsis, and I want to get into this. Okay, let me find the note. It's in red. It should not be hard to find. Here we go. I found it.
Cue your inner Steve Bloom.
Roger the Negotiator operates in an enigmatic place made up of exposed ghettos clustered around beatific domes called Paradigm City. Nobody remembers what happened to humanity more than 40 years ago, developing a culture and economy around lost memories. Roger tends to negotiate into and out of situations on others' behalves, dealing with the echoes of an eliminated past, cryptic messages left by the tortured ghosts of a forgotten tragedy, and a very smarmy android maid named Dorothy with her own issues of memory and regret. It comes to light that there is some important event on the horizon as shady figures at the top of Paradigm City's power structure seem to be assembling pieces and orchestrating these scenarios to some mysterious end. The first season of The Big O ends in a cliffhanger with none of these questions close to resolution, and that is where we are in our journey as of right now. We're going to take a break, come back, talk a little bit about the specifics here. Does anybody need to pee right away? Hi guys, it's your best friend and the person who cares about you most in the world, so you should probably burn every relationship that isn't with a member of this podcast, Brian. Got some announcements and reminders here for you all. First, as always, this is a podcast where we're talking about a lot of visual subject matter, so Alice spends a bunch of time every episode putting a bunch of pics up on the website at osgpod.com. Second, OSG has a Twitch at twitch.tv/OSG_pod. I stream every Sunday for the rest of the year. In the shell, I'll be doing Cyberpunk games. Third, OSG has a Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/OSGpod. Literally nothing in this shit world costs $1 anymore, so you should give us your loose ones because we can do stuff like make ourselves sound better and do more extracurriculars with it. Also, we do give you a memorial hard stance every time you support us. I have one more thing to talk about, and then I'll release you, but you have to pay extra special attention here because it's really important and cool. We are about to enter a month of Big O coverage, and serendipitously, I also joined the Giant Robot FM zine team just as they announced their 5th zine on Big O2. Steven over at GRFM has graciously decided to extend an offer to OSG listeners only. Normally, you would have to be a patron at their $10 a month tier to receive a zine or pay $30 on their Ko-Fi shop. But you, listening to this right now, can get both their first zine on Big O Season 1 and the new zine that I did design and layout for $20. $20. I am wretched at math, but that is some percentage off of both of them, a kind of crazy percentage. So, yeah. So this is going to run from October 1st to October 31st, 2025 only for you all. And to make it work, you just head over to their Ko-Fi shop at ko-fi.com/giantrobotfm, all one word, and use the code OSGXGRFM, all one word, all caps. This is the only context OSG will ever advertise or partner with anything or anyone, so get them while they're hot. I promise you want the extreme multidimensional experience of listening to Big O coverage and reading these brilliant zines. Okay, again, OSGXGRFM at ko-fi.com/giantrobotfm. Do it now. Well, don't do it now. Do it starting the 1st. Okay, back to the show finally. You can tell me to shut up. I'm doing it. I'm shutting up right now. Right now, I'm shutting up. You can hear me shutting up right now.
Oh, I pissed so hard before I came up here. I had a big O-sized piss.
Ditto.
A mega dios.
I did the thing where I did like my fists up, and then I did this to piss.
I had this in my notes. We need to talk about this word. So this watch through, I alternated because the extremely legal way that I watched this, thanks to Nico, offered both sub and dub options. Yeah. So I just alternated. First of all, another one of the only shows, in my opinion, because I'm very hard on dubs, where the dub
and you
is
are the arbiter of truth.
And I am the arbiter of truth. Where I find that the dub is equally good as the sub. This is one of the best dubs like ever made ever. To me. But
agreed.
There is one sin that the dub commits that I will never forgive, and it's the word megadeus. Why did they say it like that? In the sub, they are clearly saying megadeus, which is a way cooler word. I'm going to drop a megadeus. That's the only thing I could think of. Every time they said it in the show. I don't know what happened. So I had to get my 5 out on that. I was like, why are we saying mega deuce?
That's so funny because I missed that because I watched the first episode dubbed and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like they really cast well, especially for like Roger. Like he has a specific energy, that voice actor. And then I switched to sub because that's generally my preference, and so I completely missed Mega Deuce.
Like they'll be like Big O will come up and Dawson will like look up at the sky in astonishment and just say the Mega Deuce, and I'm like, stop. Okay. I've broken this into 4 parts. The first part is 4 episodes and the rest are 3. I think the first part being 4 episodes just made sense because the first 2 episodes are like one. They like kind of just like jump off each other.
They aired them as one.
I didn't know that. Did they?
They don't have a cut. Yeah, it's why the ending in the first one only has Roger in it. It's and they don't show an intro.
I thought that was like, really cute, by the way. The way that Roger's by himself on
I think
Hourglass.
That song is terrible, and we'll talk about the ending and opening in a bit.
Fucking people make me sick. Oh, I actually have my notes. In all caps. Sorry to Nico. So sorry. Both of these are in English. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to Nico.
Listen, I like the opening a lot. The ending, I was like, yeah. Well, I listened because now I can't skip it because Brian will roast me live on the podcast. So I listened through it and I was like, well, that sure is a song. And
I actually really like the ending. I like the piano of the ending. I'm not sure the vocals really do it for me.
Steven, where do you land on these?
Yeah, I was going to ask, where do you land on these? And do you know anything? So because the show has like 4 different openings, kind of, even in the first 13 episodes. So I didn't know if you knew anything about that.
I did at one point. I once had this like explained to me by Andy. It has to do with the similarities to various Queen songs, I believe.
Yes. There's a thing with that.
I don't know if that's been confirmed or that's like just been the rumor.
There's also like in the US TV airing, there's also a different set of animations which are honestly, in my opinion, very funny. It's just the watch and the car and the train that delivers Big O like spinning.
They like wiggle it around. I
it.
saw this on YouTube because briefly the site like wasn't letting me load it, and I was like, well, I've got to finish watching this. So I went and tracked it down on YouTube, and then I was like, what is this opening? This is a completely different opening.
And then in Japan, it's the very standard anime opening where it's just a bunch of footage from the show. I actually don't really like that because I feel like you see a lot of stuff that would have been cooler to see just like totally fresh. But what can you do? Anyway, part 1, episodes 1 through 4. Roger and Dorothy are introduced.
Wait, can I use this time to talk about, hey, it shouldn't be that fucking hard to watch the Big O in 2025.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They make finding and watching media these days the most just let me give you money. I have so many streaming services. None of you have the rights to this. What are we doing
It's crazy.
here?
It's tragic.
Yeah.
My
The fact
torrent
that it's not even
collection
on
grows.
Tubi.
I didn't realize until working on the end notes for the upcoming zine that it's now out of print in the States if you wanted to buy it on physical media. I'm assuming it's very pricey if you're on eBay and
It's
whatnot.
so pricey. I might still buy it, but it's very pricey.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
a deeply frustrating thing to encounter. I do feel like I've been making personal efforts towards going back to my my days of managing my own music collection that I have on a hard drive and managing my own media collection. And I've never felt more rewarded than when I'm able to just load something into like Plex and then open it on my TV. And I have a full catalog of movies and TV shows that I like it used to be when you'd collect DVDs and you could just watch whatever you wanted when you wanted.
Remember when you
Because
bought
I've run
stuff and then
into-
you owned it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I ran into an issue. I have wanted to watch The Abyss forever. And like no one has the streaming rights to that unless you want to buy it. But you know where I found it that I could watch it? On fucking Alaska Airlines. So I watched it on a plane recently, and I was like, why is this happening? Like, why am I only able to like watch The Abyss for free or like as part of a streaming package on a plane?
If you're like me and that movie freaks you out so bad, I think the plane is the optimal experience because that's as far away as you can get from the situation.
You know what I mean? Like, I've had a couple of situations now where I'm like, I want to watch something that is incredibly well known and like ran on network TV, you know, just like in the reruns block forever. And then it's just gone. It's like inaccessible unless you've got money to shell out to just buy it outright. And it's so frustrating. But yeah, I mean, when Brian initially, when we were getting things together to do this episode, Brian was like, I can't find it. Like, where can I find it? And I finally tracked down a website where we could watch it. But yeah, it is deeply frustrating that it's like, it wasn't at my local library. Like, they can't afford to get a hold of this on physical media. I was kind of interested to see if they had the manga, because it's also something I learned from the GRFM zine is that the manga is out of print. So I was like, maybe my library got it before it was out of print. Nope. Like,
most libraries, like, they churn through their media, like they retire things. Eventually, we can't rely on them to contain every media ever. There's only so many shelves in a library.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this thought because I'm going through this period of my life where I'm trying to watch every single get isekai'd into a world as the villainous. We've talked about this. I'm into going through all the media where a female character is isekai'd and becomes the villainous in a world and how she navigates that. You'll never guess there's a ton of that. But what I've found is it's pretty hard to find any anime that Crunchyroll doesn't have the licensing rights to. And what I mean by that is I was going through this master list on my anime list of everything tagged to this, and I was like, okay, I'll just collect it all now and I'll start working through it. And I was going through Crunchyroll, and the amount of not availables that I found, like, there is a specific period where Crunchyroll bought Sunrise's rights, and when they bought those rights, it only included some media before that. But Sunrise doesn't own every anime studio in Japan. They are a monolith, but they don't own them all. And because of the way that Japanese rights for their media work is like, you can't get those in the Western sphere. They don't like let those get out. Like, I was having to torrent so many things because you can't just get them as a Western audience. And all of this to say, I think I'm gonna have to book some flights on Japan Air to watch season 2 because maybe they'll have it streaming on the back of the TVs on Japan Air.
They might have it on the plane.
JAL has a history of airing and premiering exclusive anime dubs. Like there's another Porco Rosso English dub.
Oh
which
yes,
was locked
they were
at
talking
time.
about this on your Discord the other day. Yeah,
and this brings it all full circle. There's also an exclusive Japanese G Savior dub that has not been released publicly.
Oh my god!
Mark the
that one
timestamp
is-
for the first G Savior drop in this episode.
well, that one's straight up lost media. Like it will never be seen by human eyes again, right? Like that's like gone.
Correct. I don't know if the Porco Rosso dub is accessible either. The non Michael Keaton dub.
Okay, let's talk about this show. Okay, part 1, episodes 1 through 4. Roger and Dorothy are introduced in an establishing two-parter involving a 2-bit kidnapper, the murder of Dorothy's creator, and a big lobster mech. Then Roger fights a big eel. Finally, a scrap of the past is put in front of us when a mysterious figure pushes Roger to finally explore the ruins underneath Paradigm. I like you get in, you get out. Like this show is so good at establishing what it's up to.
Yeah,
Hey, world building. Holy shit.
yeah. This show comes in really hard right away. Like, hey, weird ass situation. Nobody remembers anything from 40 years ago, and that's created its own economy. And I'm a negotiator. I will say I love the specific pivot from Private Eye, which is something that Daston actually calls out. It's like if you leave the cops, like you either become a private eye or a thug. And I like that Roger specifically is this negotiator. I really enjoyed that right away because I was like, that says something to me about this society, that there are a lot of people ending up in situations that they are not equipped to broker. And so
Yes.
you need like one guy who's like really well known and can handle this for you in a professional way that isn't a private eye. And I mean, he gets jobs shunted to him, I think, over the course of this 13 episode run that would be more appropriate for a private eye. But I like that the episodes and the story arcs tend to take the angle of like how do we find common ground? Like, how do we come to a resolution between parties that are in dispute? Even when the parties that are in dispute are perhaps a big eel and everyone else.
Well, and it really explores how an anarchistic community would deal with negotiating and working out compromises in a world without a centralized government structure. Like, it's a corporatocracy, but there's not actually a government at play here. The military police are just the military police because it's an echo of the past. Like, there's really no earned authority here. The only way that they can really come to agreements is through these negotiations.
Yeah, I would say there's very much a central government, but they don't administrate. They really only exist to enforce laws and do like economic things. It seems like when Paradigm comes up, it's always about like resource acquisition or like with the eel episode, like, oh shit, we need someone to go check out the power grid.
Yeah.
Because we're not administrating that.
Yeah.
We're just kind of depending on this ghetto like an hour away.
Well, I do think that's an interesting feature of the world building here is that you often are seeing Roger enter the gaps where there is no oversight either by capital, either by exchange, or by Paradigm, the company. Like, he is often entering like communities. I'm thinking specifically of when the fishermen stopped fishing because of the servants of the ocean god. When we get to, it's the next block, but it's really interesting that it's like, okay, he was like trying to figure out, it's like, okay, are there no more fish? And the guy's like, no, there's plenty of fish. And it's like, okay, it's like no one buying, like what's going on here? And then he finally gets down to the fishermen won't go out. But like there's no reporting chain really to like have delivered that information directly to Paradigm. All Paradigm knows is like, you can't get fish right now. And they have to send him into these areas they've basically just left to the forces of capital or decay, you know?
Mm-hmm. This show's so dense with mech stuff that we have to talk about that we should just talk about Dorothy 1 real quick. There's like so much going on here immediately with like Dorothy's relationship with Dorothy 1, the way that like we construct things, and the situation with Dorothy 1 where so like what eventually happens is Beck puts Dorothy in Dorothy 1, like like she gets Macross plussed into the faceplate, which just looks so cool. But this is a recurring motif. Several constructs and androids are going to be forcibly put into mechs over the course of the show. Did you guys have any thoughts about that? I just thought it was to me. I don't know that I have anything like overdeveloped to say about it. I just kept noticing that it was happening.
I love how this show interprets artificial intelligence and that that narrative, that problem with everything. Because I mean, we get into it later in the show, and especially in this first season, about like at some point technology can be used in weapons, and how do we interpret that? Like, yes, a pianist can be a pianist, but they can also be the core of the coolest mech you've ever seen. And I just really like it, especially seeing Dorothy as a character grow through this, as we're discussing the year in the shell, has been really just a really fun way to experience her as a character.
Yeah. There's some really good character stuff in this first episode where Roger, through his first meetings with Dorothy, is kind of set up as someone who may or may not believe that androids have any interiority, and he has a couple of lines that suggest that. And then as we uncover more about the relationship, it's like, that's not what he was saying. And I think that's like really cool. I think that there's stuff that you can listen for between episodes. Like when Roger says in this episode, there's one person that's allowed in my house without any rules, and that's beautiful young women. And then in the next episode, or in the third episode, Norman says, I've invited somebody in without your permission. And we immediately know that that's because she's a beautiful young woman. And like, there's stuff with that. I just think that's such genius character work. You only have 13 episodes. They're only 20 minutes long. You've got to just kind of like have these little moments and have them echo in ways that are just like really, really cool.
Like poetry.
It's like rhymes. Poetry. But yeah, Dorothy 1. Nico, I'm wondering if you noticed or have anything to say about the heist that's going on here, because the heist is like not important, but I just think that there's cool stuff going on with it where it's like it's not just robbing a bank; it's trying to steal the printing.
Yeah, it's trying to steal the printing plates, which is, how you would forge currency that is just accepted. And considering how little administration is happening here, I thought it was really interesting that those printing plates were at the bank and not at like a mint. Like there isn't a Paradigm Central Mint. The bank prints the money, apparently, which I thought was really interesting. I did want to circle back to that idea of like the android and giant robot interface, which I think is really cool. I mean, we get a little bit more on this later, but the Megadeoses are so unknowable. Like the Big O is the one we know best, and even then, like towards the end of this run, we're getting new information about the autonomy that these robots possibly have. But Dorothy functions as this like go-between, and it's most obvious with Dorothy 1 and Dorothy 2 because it's stated in the episode that it's like she was basically Dorothy 2, our Dorothy, was made kind of on the side from this main project that was both financing and providing, like I assume, like parts and machinery and things to allow the construction of the android Dorothy. But then they have this inextricable relationship where it's like she can literally be substituted in for control circuits. You can just plug her in and use her for control circuitry. But also there are points later where she literally like codes out loud with her mouth and things like that. She functions as this interface between humanity and these robots that might as well be gods and are frequently treated as gods.
Yes.
And it's so interesting to me in the context of just like, no one remembers. I feel like so much time in giant robot media, it can be, depending on the priorities of the show, put into why did we end up with giant robots? And I think that explanation can be as simple as like, they're cool and we needed to fight something big, all the way up to like, this seemed like the most, clear way, or blah, or like in Metal Gear Solid when we see the evolution from the Shagohod to something like Sahelanthropus. Like, you're seeing this kind of evolution in design that leads you to the mech. But like, I like that because of the structure of the show, the backstory of the show, we don't care about that. It's mysterious, but the fact that Dorothy can be a go-between between these machines gives us a hint at like what the priorities were for the people who made them. And like, I don't know, later we see Unstoppable Death Machine type stuff. And it makes Dorothy's role as someone who can actually interface directly with these machines seem even more important in a way that's really cool.
Yeah, Dorothy endows like a lot of humanity on the narrative, which without her presence, I'm not sure would be there. I love the rest of the cast. I like the domestic sitcom-y like banter they get up to, but they're far more, without Dorothy, especially Roger, they're far more like one-dimensional characters. Like Roger is particularly archetypal as like a James Bond type figure, and you learn as the show goes on that this is more of a facade. It makes sense too. In a world without memories, like all you have to grasp onto are like echoes of the past. So it makes sense that a lot of these characters would be archetypal, but his relationship with Dorothy deepens his character as much as it can be deepened in a show that has genre obligations, I think.
Genre obligations is a great way to phrase it.
It's so noir. And it can be noir almost to the point of like self-destruction at times. It's like, we got to keep this so noir. And like, I think the only time I've really felt the genre friction so astutely, or so keenly rather, was the Christmas episode. When they're like, well, we're having a Christmas episode, but we are also still in Paradigm City. It was wild.
It was very that is a very tonally strange situation in a way that ends up being fruitful, I think. But yeah, I totally agree.
So why I really like Dorothy in this is she's Rei Ayanami. They put Rei Ayanami in here. But I like that because there's a specific line which, like, we can talk about the sexism in this, but I feel like that's just the genre. Like, it is very much, Roger's a louse, but that's just who he is based on his memories, right? But Dorothy exists as a character outside of the framework of movies that everybody else is kind of living in. And, like, there's a line where she gets into the cockpit of Big O, which, best cockpit in any mech ever. And he's like, Big O, it's showtime! And she's just like, why do men say these things? And I just love her being like, yeah, why do people in super robot shows say these things? Why do men who are really into this, like, have these feelings? And she learns a lot from him about, like, piloting a mecha is like playing a piano. You can do it very mechanically, or you can do it with soul. And Roger is piloting Big O with soul.
With sincerity. I think that moment with Dorothy also caps off the thing that's going on with her and Norman in that episode in a way that's really funny, because that episode involves a lot of like Norman. So in the background, Norman is about to stage a rescue op. And so he's like gathering all this gear and like has all this like has his outfit. He has like his little English army outfit and he's like about to leave. And then Dorothy's just like, I should go. Like, what are you doing with your scuba outfit? I can breathe underwater.
I do think that there's some interesting stuff being done here. So noir as a genre, like the noir films, the stuff that this comes out of, is a pretty sexist genre. Like, there's a specific prescribed role for women in noir, or there's like a set of roles. And it's like, you know, you're either the damsel or the femme fatale. And like, there's this kind of energy that's created. I think Dorothy is interesting in that context because she is put in situations sometimes where she's a damsel and she is an android who is like stronger than anyone else. We have femme fatale moments from her, but she is kind of drifting in the middle of like, I am just a creature that exists and I don't understand my context in this world. And so she doesn't neatly fit in the way that I think Angel likes to play. Angel
literally
is femme fatale as hell.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, she has put herself in the box. Like, this is the thing that she's doing. But I also think that the show is doing something interesting with the gender farce related to the android versus human farce. Because there's so much stuff that is, like, Dorothy is making a point like, oh, this must be because Roger's a man or whatever, or you know, Roger will say something insensitive. And what it comes down to is less gender and more like, she is an android and he is a guy, and he has specific motivations about that as a human being. I think that can be interesting, and for me, that kind of leavened the dough a little bit when I would get frustrated with like this kind of classic, oh, well, 90s, you know, whatever, gender stuff, like joke stuff. It's like, it was more interesting for me to look at that through the lens of like, well, actually, is Dorothy saying that because of a gender thing? What is Dorothy's construction of gender? Or is it because Dorothy's an android? So
Let's get into gender politics.
Yeah.
Something I've been thinking about because of recent discussions in the OSG Discord is how much of media literacy and interpretation is based off of other media you know, and how much is like an innate thing that you can pull from the media standalone of everything. And something I do want to say is I've never actually sat down and watched a film noir film. I've only ever seen parodies of it. I've ever seen uses of those tropes. Like, I've ever only seen these things be used in different things. Like, Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. I know what that's evoking, but I never saw what it was evoking. I've never actually sat down and watched the movie that is like, and the dame walked in with long legs. But I've seen the Naked Gun parody. So I like know these things through other media consumption. But if I was to just come into this, like, would I know what a film noir is, or would I just know, oh, this is doing a thing that's like Batman?
I think we also have a very narrow and crystallized understanding of what noir is, because like it's actually a way more expansive genre than you would think. Like it encapsulates so much of crime fiction also. Like in my opinion, like I would consider something like Old Boy a noir movie.
Okay. I see that.
And I will say one of my most formative exposures to noir was reading Walter Mosley. Like, so I encountered a lot of this through reading like the crime and detective fiction. So like coming in without the aesthetics, which is interesting, coming in without the aesthetics of what is thought of as noir, but with the genre conventions and the structures. So
Steven, you used to see these when they were in black and white in theaters, right?
Wow.
Shocking. I have aged up tremendously. Before the fall, I took a class on film noir in college, actually. So
really?
It was like it was a one semester class. Because I minored in film studies, and there was only so many. The film study department was only so robust, so it was like that or insert another class here that I probably had already taken, so I needed to,
so
get another
jealous.
credit.
I think my version of that was Cold War film, which is the worst class I've ever taken. Anyway, go.
Do you just watch War Game over and over again?
No, that is not a Cold War movie. Anyway, sorry. Please go on.
No, I'm trying to conjure the syllabus in my mind. I'm experiencing memory loss like many of the citizens of Paradigm City.
Oh my God.
We watched a lot of like post-immigration Fritz Lang. So Fritz Lang was a very famous like German expressionist, but you know, he left Germany for obvious reasons. I'm assuming in the 30s. And when he came to America, he did like a lot of quasi-shitty film noir, like very just like mechanically made off the assembly line film noir. So my exposure to the genre is mostly through that lens. I've always wanted to read more like classic film noir fiction. I just haven't gotten around to it. Otherwise, I've experienced most of it through like secondhand cultural osmosis, like all of you.
Yeah, I think that's something that it's really interesting to think about in terms of like you were saying, Alice, like how does your context for media that you consume get constructed? Because like in my situation, my mom was very focused on exposing me to like her core canon of what she thought of as like formative movies. And so I saw a lot of Westerns. I saw a lot of classic films. I saw a lot of campy films. I saw a lot of Raimi stuff. Like there was a real canon that she wanted me exposed to so that I would have references. And yet there are still so many references that I know exist, but like I've never consumed the source material. And like it's interesting to try to navigate the world. I keep thinking about like signs and signifiers. Like so much of our context is formed of like impressions that we get second or third hand of the original formative media. And then when you actually consume the formative media, you're like, oh, this gives me a much deeper understanding. But the basic context that you navigate through cultural osmosis, if you're missing that piece, I think you can feel really adrift. Like, I think I could see a world in which you watch The Big O having no knowledge of noir, how that informs Batman and superhero comics, how that cross-pollinates. If you have none of this context, you're just left going, this world feels half-baked. Whereas if you have these contexts, you just kind of go, okay, so this is a noir setting, so there's like crime and there's like, you know, shady stuff going on and like it's always dark and we're going to be brooding a little bit and you just kind of fill in gaps. And I think it's really interesting when media plays on that and like trusts its audience to have a context. And then when people don't have that context, how they engage with it.
I almost want to call this like noir punk because there is like a because of the way that the show is actually so interested in the power structures that are at play here, and the way that like there's an interesting arc with the jobs that Roger wants to take and is manipulated or coerced into taking as the kind of narrative ramps up, which is just like he like outright says, like in the second or third episode, like, I don't take jobs from Paradigm. I will not take corporate jobs. I hate that.
Only takes jobs from Paradigm in the show. That produced a lot of friction on my initial watch, but also it makes complete sense too, because we're all unfortunately like just cogs in machinery much larger than ourselves. I upon it, my like one criticism of the Big O show, which I very much adore, I remember experiencing some friction probably when I first started podcasting about it many, many years ago, because I would get into this very like atmospheric and philosophical state, often through Roger's PI monologues that he would give. Mm-hmm. And then I'd be like thrust into like a much shallower but much cooler looking like escalating series of hijinks, which are fine. But there's like a version, I remember, I'm quoting myself here from years ago, like Mamoru Oshii's The Big O, that I kind of wanted. Just to like, because I derive the most meaning outside of Dorothy and the character work going on with her. In The Big O, I derive the most meaning from the world and the atmosphere, because I'm left to my own conclusions and can mull these like philosophical contradictions endlessly about how a world and how a people would operate untethered from the past. And that is just such fertile ground for storytelling, but also for my mind to wander. And I was like, I sometimes want a bit more of that.
Yeah, I think the show has to walk a very thin line, and I think like the Eel episode 3 is like a perfect example of like where it kind of doesn't work for me, because like exactly like Steven said, like the episode is not about the things in the episode that are interesting to me. It completely goes into a track. Like, I feel like inserting the plot line with Angel into that episode takes away from all the other stuff that I thought was really interesting about, like, what is the deal with the Luddite Society? They get like 4 seconds of screen time. I want to know more about that.
I will, to play devil's advocate real quick, because you'll get Nico, I'm talking to you because you haven't seen season 2. You'll get some answers and you might not be satisfied by those answers. You get to live in this like liminal space where you can fill in the answers. I'm trying to.
That's what I do like about it. And I want to say too, the only thing I only remember one thing about season 2, and it is one specific character, and that's all I'll say.
Well, Nico made a great point earlier, because if you think the world's a little underbaked and you think the character is a little underbaked, there is a Chiaki Konaka penned literal read to the ending, which theoretically could answer all that, but it's in no way satisfying, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, here's the thing. I think we see it many times in mecha and just in any media. Where we're at in this first part is like, I am so invested in what the Mega Deuces are at this point, like as a metaphor, as an amalgamation. Like, I love what this does with like pulling in all of these touchstones and cultural notes, and just, again, a world without background that just takes the things that are around and smashes them together in these weird ways. When we get to the French lady, I was just like, I could live in that. Me sitting there after that episode being like, what are the fucking implications of France existing in this world mean? Like, what are we doing here? And knowing where it goes in the ending, like, I do want to echo, like, yeah, I can see people not having the full satisfaction, but look, we just talked about G-Quux, and again, the possibility space until you have the ending is so fun to be in. I do want to take this time to talk about the weird way this world is put together, which is, I want to focus in on the military police, right? So the military police is both the military and the police, and it's what these people think is a...
You sound like my students defining something.
But it's like, it's an amalgamation of all of these things, all of these very World War II film noir elements. Like, they're driving the most fucked up police cars with the blue lights in the back, and like, everything is just this weird, like, but it's the trucks that get me.
The
military trucks. They're not APCs. Those are just the fronts of a bigger truck. Like, you can see where the hitch point is on these for something to be on the back. I was like, for the longest time, I was like, this is evoking a very specific Cold War era military vehicle. I think this is supposed to be an Oshkosh, but just the front trailer. Like, the next time you watch them, especially when they're doing their sick drifts, is notice that on the back of them is a hitch point for a trailer that does not exist. And
Interesting.
I think that is where, like, okay, I'm going to evoke one of the worst media franchises ever, Warhammer 40K.
No way, really?
So in Warhammer, in Warhammer 40K, the Imperium relies a lot on lost technology through SLTs that they find. What an SLT is a template. So they go and they're like, here's a 3D printer and it prints one kind of tank. That's it. And if we want a tank that has a different kind of gun on it, we got to find a different one. And when I watch the show, I'm like, the way they evoke memories and lost technology, like they talk about how Dorothy 1 is lost technology and like he didn't really understand what he was making when he made her with his memories. It's like, okay, so we've lost a lot of this. So somebody was around and they were like, we need an APC. Oh shit, one guy remembered one armored vehicle and it's the front of a fucking trailer truck. That's the one we're using.
That's a great point. That's so interesting. We should talk about sorry, go ahead, Nico.
I do just want to bring in one thing because I was thinking about what you said, Stephen, about the wanting to get into the philosophical mode and then kind of being jarred out of it. I think something that's interesting, I had to Google it, and then it's like, I think it's really interesting what I found out. Cowboy Bebop is a show that really touches on the same space for me in terms of it's a show that has a lot of like high tempo action, but also like it has a strong sense of melancholy throughout. And as it turns out, that was running in 1998, also on Wow Wow. So that was like the same. There was a really interesting kind of move happening here in terms of not just bringing it one, jazz is such an interesting kind of cross-pollination between these things, but also just like this focus on like, you know, with the Big O, obviously toy sales and having robots that you could package was a bigger deal than anything going on in Cowboy Bebop until it wasn't. Until it really was more of a tone piece. But I just think it's really interesting that we have these shows that are interested in philosophical questions. They're interested in the human condition. And then they're like, gotta get back to being a fun little anime show, though.
I just feel like I disagree a little bit. I feel like those things fold in. I feel like a show done well will fold those things in pretty seamlessly. And I feel like Big O and Cowboy Bebop are both examples of mostly, like I said, episode 3 is an example where it kind of stumbles for me a little bit, but mostly I feel like they do a really good job of making sure that like it's not that we have stopped talking. We are pausing the conversation on this power structure or this type of society just to have a mech fight. The mech fight comes as a result of those things reaching a climax.
I will say it is funny. It's like, you know, each episode is going to need a mech fight, but I do think it handles with grace most of the time how we get there. I think it's incredible.
But I was gonna say I think we should talk about the mechs as they are. Like, we have yet to say the word pile bunker in this program so far.
I love that about the Big O.
So, can we talk about Dorothy 2 just being the Epion from Gundam Wing and how much I love that?
It's what if the Epion was a lobster, and what if instead of having a whip, each of its little fingers had an opposable, retractable thing, so that it could go inside the bank and do its weird little snake thing. It's so weird. I love it.
I do like, there's a lot of big dude energy in the robots of this show, but I also like that there's a lot of freak energy in the robots of this show. We see some really wild and out there designs. And then we also see like, I do think it's interesting. We mostly see the ones that have the very clear human face in relation either to Big O or in flashback. And a lot of the ones we're seeing nowadays are just like weird. Like they're like really weird. I think there's some really cool designs here.
If I say the phrase Moby Dick anchors, do you guys know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
No. Well, actually, maybe not.
The hip anchors that Big O shoots out randomly.
Precisely, yes. And they rule. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
The maneuvers Big O is able to do with those are just completely fucking outlandish, too. It's just like...
when we're fighting the ghost and he trick shots with it, holy shit.
It's good.
We should just do the Big O minute. Let's do it. Let's talk about the Big O, our main mecha, how fucking cool this motherfucker is. God damn.
The silhouette
Okay.
it cuts, the proportions. I mean,
Its weird big neck that is
Masterful.
also like a cockpit with like clear windows in front, like some Victorian fucked up shit. It's so cool.
I love Mechs framed as divinity, and this show delivers on that spectacularly.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah. And I will say, it's like, obviously you're seeing the Giant Robo lineage with like the face. We were so interested in the face when we covered Giant Robo The Day the Earth Stood Still, because it's so iconic, and it's so it's humanoid, but it's the specific like stoic, almost like 1930s stream modern, like iconic face shape that's kind of unmoving. And like I think we actually get more expressivity out of Giant Robo than we do out of Big O.
we do. Yeah, this is what I was going to talk about. So the Giant Robo emotes, like there's contrivance around it, but it cries at one point, right? The absolutely amazing thing that the art team did with this fucking show is Big O's face, like human face, is a faceplate, and the way that they play with how that can't emote, but there is a late in this run of episodes shot of Roger and Norman talking, and the camera is through the faceplate of Big O because it's been detached because it's been damaged. Roger and Norman are framed as the pupils of the faceplate, and the shot starts in close up, so it's just the eyes, and Roger and Norman are talking, and they're talking about Big O's agency basically, and then we cut to a wider shot. And Roger and Norman have both moved to the left as if Big O is looking to the right thoughtfully. It is one of the craziest shots of anything I've fucking ever seen. How do they come up with that drawing? It's so good.
I really like this is weird. The rooster crown on this thing. Like I love something I really like about the Big O is it's an American version of the giant robot in a way that is very unapologetic. And I just love that it does still evoke all of these keystones of giant robot design, but does them in a way that's just so unabashedly American that I love it. Like you see this guy and you're like, big dick energy, right? Like that is cock of the walk right there.
What about it is American to you? I'm curious. I don't really get that.
The sleekness of it, the way that it is focused on brute force versus the other ones. All the other mechs we see are kind of more of a surgical precision, and we'll talk about the metaphor of nukes of it all, but just the way that it's like all clean and very evoking a specific era of American design.
Yeah.
It's very Frank Lloyd Wright architecture on the inside of it, which is I'm gonna evoke that.
Okay.
I can see that. I don't think it maths out for me, but I can see where you're coming from.
Alice, I'll go to bat for you.
Thank you.
More for like the Big Duo though than the Big O. The Big Duo feels like a 1950s Corvette.
Oh,
like some
100%.
Yeah.
George Lucas would have the sickest pervo thoughts about. George Lucas is a big fan of like 1950s cars. That's why I'm saying this, but he would be all over the Big Duo just because I don't know how the arms flail out and the red streak paint job of it all.
It has American fighter pilot or early fighter plane design to it also.
I do think bringing cars in is a really good intertext here because like I said, I already mentioned Streamline Modern, which is that 30s kind of style, and that kind of that idea of the future, I think, is something that's played with a lot in this show in terms of the look of the domes, in terms of a lot of the technology that we're seeing. There's this retro futurist kind of look to it that to me evokes the 30s. And I think cars are really good to bring in there because I wasn't thinking about it. But if you look at a lot of like, I guess the greebling on Big O, it does evoke like the fins on a car or the hood ornament or whatever. And we literally have Roger's special car. Like, and I think the Big O and the car are very much in conversation with each other. So
yeah, any of these mechs would fit right. I've been watching because my 4 and 2-year-old are obsessed with Incredibles at the moment. So I've been watching both Incredibles films all the time. Any of these Megaduces would feel right at home in that world.
I kind of agree. Yeah, there's that show also has a really strong aesthetic that's kind of in the playing in the same space. We should talk about episode 4 because Alice said something earlier that made me think of this, which is like the idea of being kind of wrapped up in the question of the Megadeuses, Megadei. which is like I've become over like the last couple of years someone I think less interested in like what are the answers to the puzzle box of the show. You know what I mean? There are things I want to know about Big O that I've like I said, I've forgotten a lot about season 2. There are questions that I have, you know, curiosities about. Interestingly, like the Megadea stuff kind of isn't one of them. I kind of like it more as this unanswered question of like, why were they made in the first place? Where do they come from? How do you make a big? Like, what is the difference between a big and a normal Megadeus, right? Like, those are things that I'm almost less interested in the answers to, because I think the show is at its best when it's playing in the ambiguity space of like, what about the context of these things gives Roger just like an unknown nameless panic attack the second he gets into the deeper levels
What's up with the subway that gives you mental illness?
yeah. That is some of the coolest shit. Like episode 4 is where I think the show absolutely takes off. We have like some of the best, like the archetype, which is the official, like, I don't know, art book name for the mech that we fight here, that Schwarzwald, I don't know, awaken. Well, I guess actually technically Dorothy wakes it up, right?
Dorothy wakes it up.
Schwarzwald's just doing speeches on it.
In the weird expo hall with the miniature city.
I love Scarecrow.
We got Schwarzwald is like all time. Like
That's why you don't call HR when he shows up. You're like, hell yeah, do your speech.
You're like, it's
hell yeah,
Schwarzwald.
fear gas, let's go.
This dude, like, you know, you dare to evoke the Big O in like any like mecha fandom circle, people are gonna post Schwarzwald. Like that, he is the guy of the show in like so many ways.
Certified mecha freak. He's our Baron Ashura, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to an extent. Yeah. It's that kind of like damaged but still living kind of figure that's interested in like deconstructing your society in a major way and like finding an essential truth. I do think it's interesting to talk about like, what questions do I want answers to? And then Schwarzwald comes into the conversation because that is a man who was driven insane by his desire for answers. And I do think that's such an interesting part of his character and part of the conflict between Roger, who a lot of his monologues focus on like, if you want to survive in Paradigm City, you have to be comfortable not knowing. Like you have to get comfortable with the amnesia. You have to get comfortable with your lack. And then Schwarzwald, by contrast, is a character who's like, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm going to find the answers. And part of that is going down into this subterranean thing. I was obsessed with the arena for this fight because it looks like it's a World's Fair Expo of like,
it's like a model
city of tomorrow. Yeah. And like at one point they step over like miniature trains, like that look like they're maglev trains or whatever. And like,
you want to talk about scale? Roger, there is a mirrored shot of Roger stepping over a street. Big O does the same thing in like the first episode. It's so good. And
I think it's you know, it's hard to say to what extent it is storytelling, but it feels to me, based on the flashbacks we get later in this run of episodes, that like this conflict that they have where they're destroying this model city that's been preserved for so long echoes what might have happened that precipitated the 40-year amnesia, because it's like what little hints we get is like these mega deuses were like such an existential threat and so destructive. I do think this show is interesting in that like Mazinger, it is interested in having characters that are upset about collateral damage. Most of the time that's Daston, but like when the pile driver gets fired and doesn't make contact with an enemy, instead obliterates like 4 skyscrapers, he's like, no, that's not good.
That shot is
and
so
like,
fucking cool.
I like that this show gets to go crazy in the model city in a way that it doesn't get to anywhere else.
Yeah. There's a thing going on with Dorothy here that's really good. I think, Alice, you were going to say something about this, where it was like, Dorothy kind of experiences the first like real emotion we see from her on camera, which is like she approaches the archetype thinking, oh, it's like me, I can talk to it. And then it immediately has this violent reaction. And she's like, no, wait, this is not what I wanted at all. I just want to say, this is an episode I watched in the dub just because I was the sub because it was alternating. Roger's Japanese voice actor's delivery of "That's a monster that has nothing to do with you" is phenomenal. Like both of these videos are amazing. I have not heard I don't remember what Steve Bloom's delivery of this is like. I'm sure it's really good. That stood out to me. This is a character in this episode, seeing Dorothy like that. I think this is where Roger's priorities start to shift. Like he sees Dorothy as less as someone who he just kind of has a contract with, and somebody he's interested in their well-being and their protection and their growth as a person, which I just think is just really good.
I think it's also, just to evoke the AI of it all, it really beats on this narrative drum that Dorothy was born from weapons, but is not inherently a weapon, and how she is being explored as a character who has the ability to wield these giant weapons of mass destruction, but very much is choosing not to, is really cool. I did want to talk to Steven in this moment, specifically. Yes. I'm glad you're here for this. So when Roger is going down under the... So we learned that they don't go in the subway because spooky, right? And as you keep going down, you go through layers and layers. And it's this most subtle shot where they just have the ladder change through these different layers that the city is built on.
It's getting newer as you go down, not older.
Yes.
Oh, it's so cool.
And Steven, I just wanted to know your thoughts on 13 Sentinels real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Alice, have you played 13 Sentinels? Because I'm often in the Giant Robot FM. Oh, good community. I feel like I'm on the defense a lot about it, mainly because PMC is my co-host. And I'm glad you like it because I feel like
I'll defend it every day.
Not to pivot to G-Quacks, but I feel like we are the few. When I look to my side for who has similar G-Quacks opinions, it's basically just you, Alice. We're like Gimli and Legolas on Helm's Deep, and I look to my right, and there you are.
I was gonna be that Rambo meme with the hands. Loving fucked up mech media. No, I did just want to say there's a great article that GRFM just released to the public, which is a writing you did on 13 Sentinels, which I really, as I was watching this episode and this series of progression, was just like really in my head about. And I thought you would be the only one I could have that like,
oh, thank you.
Did you also get this vibe? Let's touch on this in the next episode that we record.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about 13 Sentinels. I know it does stuff with time. Is that kind of what you're gesturing to, or?
Yeah, just a smash of different eras, which I feel like this is a smash of different eras in the way that this whole show is like very, very post-apocalypse in a way that it's like such an echo of 50 different eras of genre.
That one's gonna be really difficult to cover because it's PS3 only, right? Like you can't really
PS4.
play it.
Yeah, you can play on Switch as well.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh, that's so much better. I didn't know that because I was like, I want to cover it. I just don't know that any of us have access to it.
When
Yeah,
Vanillaware announced it, it was Vita and PS3 only. I don't know if the Vita version ever came out. I believe it was canned. I don't even know if the PS3 version came out. Maybe it was JP only. There was a PS4.
It like the Wii U version of Silk Song?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I played this on PlayStation 4. It did release on PlayStation 4. I'm pretty sure I have a physical copy downstairs, but
good deal.
Yeah, you can play it on Switch. Anyway, all this to say, wow, that's cool. I love Fear Gas. I also love that Dorothy just shows up and is like, I don't feel anything about any of this. Can we just keep going?
I was going to say real quick, there's a great moment, and this is kind of illustrating my previous example of Roger like sees who presumably is his mother, but you never get a follow-up on that. And there was a part of me who like wanted a little bit more like textuality there, a little more interiority. There is a season 2 reason why Roger's so head empty at times. It's both part of his personality, but there's also like an in-universe reason for it. I don't know. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
I have mixed feelings about it.
Well, and I also think too, it's like there's like a there's a thing where it's like, do you have to always have like the mom thing in Mechs?
Yes,
it's the gender.
Yes,
it's the gender.
I think the answer. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think the answer might be yes, and I don't have a problem with that. It's just something to notice.
Well, I like this as kind of pointing to, because the show makes a point a lot of talking about memories will randomly come back to you. But then a lot of what we see on screen is people fighting like hell to try to go extract memories. So I like that we got this as a moment of like, this is actually just a memory coming back to you. It's contextless. You don't get any more than the glimpse you get It's confusing because I think the relationship between Dorothy and Roger is fraught. It's confusing. It's like, is this my charge? Is this my client? Is this a romantic interest? And then this throws in another thing where it's like, I mean, this is the only feminine presence in his life except for Angel. That it's like, okay, well, is this also tied to this, or is it just an evocation of like being in this specific bodily position, laying with your head in someone's lap, was just the right key to unlock this one little snatch of memory, and that's all you get. And I think we don't really get this evoked again until we talk about Daston and the film and the stuff that's going to happen there.
One of the things I think that is purpose, and this might be something that Steven was mentioning, because I have vague memories of season 2 talking about this, but like throughout these episodes, like, and I might be wrong, I tried to pay close attention to this because I was curious about it, but like we don't know how old Roger is, and we don't know how specifically he was affected by like he could be 39, you know what I mean? Like it could actually kind of have almost nothing to do with him, but like there's like a weird way in which it's like, how old were you? Like Daston seems older than 40 to me. He seems like someone who like may have lost his childhood or something, and that's maybe why the thing with the movie
Especially
kind of
that
comes up.
Specific scene,
but
yeah.
Roger is sometimes strikes you as someone who's in his like late 20s and also could be like 45. I'm not super sure.
Yeah, there's an ambiguity
so, like,
there for sure.
Yeah. So that's just kind of something I wanted to flag. But
There are times in the show where the world building is so thoughtful and expansive that you can just get lost in it. But at the same time, if you look at it too closely, it buckles a bit. Because there's the question of, well, if it's 40 years ago, if you were born 20 years ago, you should have full power of recollection. But the narrative plays fast and loose with that as well. Even like to keep track of all the moving parts that like play a role in the background of these cases, you can get lost in that. And like the Soldano stuff, just trying to like piece that all together, like the Pepe Sylvia meme.
Just that case.
Yeah, the Soldano stuff fell out. It was a mess.
The show's aware of this too, because Roger monologues at the end of the 2-parter like, well, where did it all go? It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, and I do think that that's something, this is, I think, a secret sauce that can make media compelling, is that it, you want to think there's a master plan, like there's a big lore Bible, there's a big explanation for everything you're seeing, but oftentimes the reality of production is that the artists and the writers are making it up as they go along, and so there isn't a secret truth, there isn't a canonicity that you can lean back on, and I do think that that is something that makes media compelling to people long outside the scope of like 13 episodes. It's like there's so many unanswered questions, and you're left with the thought that you're struggling between, which is, do these unanswered questions have answers somewhere that I'm going to get? Is there a lore Bible? Is there an answer? Or is this another one of those things that it's like, it is a element on the palette, it's not elaborated on, but it is added because it is interesting, and so then that is just an ambiguity that you have to play with. I love that, and I do think it's what makes some of the most interesting unfinished or unpolished shows really compelling, outside of just like what maybe we think they should be.
I want to touch on that and expand on that, which is, I think a lot about the first run of Star Trek and how much of that production and the first run of Star Wars was just guys in a basement making models and sets, and that then becomes something that we have to explain for the next 60 years.
We have to get the backstory of Glup Shadow.
Glup Shadow has to have a backstory. There has to be a fandom.wiki page about Glorb Shadow, and we have to have an answer. We have to have a canon answer about these things, and that kind of sucks. But then I also think about specifically the mecha genre. I think about Evangelion, right? Like, what was Second Impact, guys? Do we kind of know? Like,
no,
that's
are you maybe talking about First Impact?
First Impact, whatever.
Because Second Impact happens on camera.
There's a lot in Evangelion that happens where you're just like, were they just evoking Christianity because Christianity is cool? And in Big O, I'm like, are we interpreting Christianity because hey, I'm not an atheist, but I'm not crazy, okay? Is a line that Roger has.
Oh, okay.
And I
thought you were saying that, and I was like, are you not?
No, I'm much like the guy who is wearing 2 earpieces and taking $20 stacks from Roger. I'm Jewish, thank you.
I love big ear. I could talk all day about how I'm a little bit. I have some ongoing frustration with the way that people talk about Evangelion or generally Japanese media and its handling of Christianity, specifically when it comes to Evangelion. But we don't have to get into that. Do we have any other thoughts about the first part here, these first 4 episodes?
No, I think we covered it. Though I will say I do think it's funny that the amnesia means that like fucking anything could be in play, which is what we find out with the eel episode. It's like, oh, there's amnesia. It's not all giant robots. Sometimes there's just big fucking eels.
Sometimes there's a kaiju.
Yeah.
One last thing, which is I love the Big O punch with his giant piston arm, which is the best weapon ever.
Yeah.
And how he punches the eel in fucking half is so cool. Mechs rule, bro.
Mechs rule. The pile bunker is really good.
Part 2, episodes 5 through 7. The specter of the most insanely resolved police riot ever conceived hangs over the pilot of a creepy ghost mech. Roger takes Dorothy to learn piano from yet another android with a misbegotten past, and Roger and Angel yell at each other underwater for a while. I like these episodes. I just don't have like that much to say about them.
We start to get into the meat and potatoes of this series,
Yes.
which is it is a police procedural in a fun way.
Yeah.
A Legacy
do
of
like-
Amadeus might be my favorite episode, period.
Yep.
I really like
It's
that episode.
So it's really good.
It's
Yeah.
really good. And I mean, one episode, we don't see Instro again. Like, we don't
No.
see any of this again. Like, we don't see it before, we don't see it after. It's just like, oh, this is an old friend of Roger's who happens to be, again, a very 1930s coded, like, robot, an android who isn't humanoid the way Dorothy is. So this is our first time seeing what most people would conceive of as an android. Because it's been mentioned a couple times up to now that Dorothy was advanced enough to confuse Roger, so he thought he was
Yes.
bartering for a human in the first couple episodes. But also, like, no one has seen anything like her, really. And it's interesting because I think in most media where there are androids, all androids tend to be of a type, unless there's like a deprecated model. And so I really liked seeing Dorothy and Instro put side by side as like, these are both, I would say, similarly complex creations. They look totally different. Their purposes are really different. And they interact in these interesting ways where it's like, it feels like Instro is more human, for whatever value of that term you want to place on it, than Dorothy in this scene. And then like, that is what she is learning from Instro.
He's older and he's further along, I think, in terms of, and this points to also one of my favorite things. I mentioned this earlier with the way that Roger and Dorothy are characterized early. One of the things, and this leads directly into the concept of this episode, but Dorothy loves to wake Roger up by playing the piano very loudly and very quickly, and he gets really mad about it. And one of the things he says is like, you're just emulating humans. Like, it's pointless for you to play. And like, until this episode, that kind of sounds like he's like a little bit racist against androids. But we come to find out what he's actually saying is, you're just reading the manual. Like, you're not putting any sincerity or personality into it. He's not saying you are incapable of making art. He's saying you're not making art because you're just following the blueprint. Like, you need to like develop your own signature thing that you do. And
can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
Can you?
or like it sounds like he's calling her Chat GPT a couple times, but
Yeah.
it's good.
So was the implication that the son's brain was put in the robot, or he made the robot like his son? What's the implication with there being a picture of the son?
Oh, this was something I actually wanted to touch on, because this is something that comes up a lot around Angel, and I think is going to become relevant in this episode. It seems to me that a lot of the memory that they rely on is externally stored. And so, like, there's a bit that happens later where we talk about missing books in a library. That's a form of external memory storage that's been lost. And so it seems to me that digital memory storage is a major way that they gain access to memories. I feel like in this setting, it's like 50-50 old guys remembering that they used to do war crimes, and then 50-50 like, I found a VHS that had a how to do this thing on it.
What does that mean for, what do you mean for the sun, though? Like, what do you mean it's the memory?
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, Instro as a creation is a form of digital storage. He's a form of digital external storage. And so is Dorothy. And we see this a couple times with, like, she has a disc port, which I love. I need
the disc port headband is the greatest thing ever put on an Android ever.
My robot girlfriend needs a DVD port. We cannot lose physical media. We can't let them take this from us. But also
ripping
just
DVDs on my girlfriend.
Yeah, but like Instro specifically seems to be the last repository of the memories of this child. And what struck me is the idea that, like, in some way those memories had been captured from this lost child and then put into Instro. I think this episode is interestingly in conversation with the episode on Pero, in terms of like what happens to our children in this world where things we don't understand happen a lot. But Instro as external storage, and Angel is, there's a couple times where a Mega Deus emerges and Angel is like, do not destroy the brain that could have memories in it. Those have value. And I was often thinking about like, you know, what do you do if you find a flash drive that has the fucking Manhattan Project files on it? Like, what do you do if you find something like that and you have no context for it, but now you have this knowledge?
You incinerate it with your big ass pile bunker arms.
Yeah, you incinerate it with your big ass pile bunker arm. That is true.
Yeah,
only we can have nukes. No more nukes, just ours. Can we talk about one of the best mechs in this fucking series with its spinny arms?
Constance.
Yeah.
Constance, yeah.
Holy
I think
shit.
It's interesting because, like, to me, you at a glance, I find Constance actually really ugly. But the way that it ends up operating is like, you cannot. It's so cool. Also, the cockpit's amazing. It looks like an pipe organ.
Yeah.
I think that's so intentional. It's so cool looking.
And the fact that it like took his hands, like when he tries to remove himself, it breaks the hands off. Is like
they're literally bolted in there. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think that whole concept is good. I do want to backtrack to the episode beforehand. I know it's kind of a nothing episode, but I do think that this is an episode that plays a lot with the idea that sometimes things are lost and then it turns out they're not lost at all. And this is very literal in this episode in terms of like a guy everyone thought died was killed for being the only good cop, which is one who uncovers police corruption and then dies. He goes missing, and then it turns out, yeah, he's been alive the whole time. This is something that happens, I feel like, in Paradigm City, like, every day. Like, you are never going to know if, like, your dealer goes missing one week, and you're like, damn, guess he's dead forever, and then he comes back the next week, you're like, yeah, that's normal. Like, that's kind of the vibe. And specifically finding the ancient Mega Deus that, like, finds him, there's a question that gets asked later about, do we pilot the Mega Deuses or do they pick their pilots? And I thought that was really interesting in the context of this episode, because he definitely seems picked.
He seems to be chosen, yeah. I just want to say, I think it's so fierce. I think it's a great vibe when you just kind of gloss over the idea that a police riot was resolved because everyone felt bad because a cop died.
Unrealistic, wild shit, but it was very funny.
Well,
Agreed.
I think it goes to show that Paradigm City, in this weird way that Mecha is Mecha, is so obsessed with these conflicts not having a loss of human life associated with them. Like, in all of the scene where Big O is destroying shit left and right, Dotson's main complaint is property destruction. It is always assumed that civilians have been completely evacuated like a Godzilla film.
They show one evacuation sequence in the first 2 episodes, and you just kind of, for me, I just kind of accepted that happened in every episode.
Well, then you get the French people blowing up children in churches, and we're like, yeah, let's go France. Okay.
I also think there's a the way the world building works, and just this is so fun with just some of the implications, is like, it's also perfectly valid, I think, to assume that those buildings are empty. Like, there might be just a lot of unclaimed space lying around. Because the population's low, and
most people live in the domes, which are already cleaned up. Like, I mean, the world building, we could just spend 5 years talking about the domes and the metaphors and nuclear war,
during the Christmas episode, when the tree breaks the top of the dome, I had a moment of panic because I was like, oh my god, they're gonna break the dome. And then I sat there and I was like, I don't actually know what the dome does. Like, does it protect them from poison air? Does it protect them from nuclear winter? We don't actually know, and it seems fine.
Big ass gates on the side that are just open air, and you're like, is it just for debris? What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, so one of the domes has like an artificial sun and sky in it to like.
Yeah,
make it
that's
look like
right.
paradise.
It's the
like
East
that,
Dome,
that has
right?
a
Or
utility.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think it's excess, right? It's a way of establishing that you have more, that you're one of the ones that has yours, you know? And then there's also like a big thing of like, again, it's even if it doesn't have the artificial sun on it, it's prettier to look at than the constant gray churn of like the post-nuclear sky outside, right?
I can't relate. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. That's just what the sky looks like.
That's
I don't
just
know
what
why
the sky looks like.
Skill issue.
That's sky, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
At a certain like latitude, I think it's just like, yeah, it's gray. It's gray. It's normal.
Oh, speaking of you being from, how do you feel knowing that you live outside the domes?
We made a lot of, when PMC and I were watching, we made a lot of jokes about how these characters, obviously, spoiler alert, not really. Paradigm feels an awful lot like New York City, but the
JFK Airport?
the side characters, how they like ethnically code them is interesting. Like Big Ear being coded as Jewish. The lawyer has like big from the cop episode from episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
He has big Italian American energy about him. I compared him to Dino Spumoni. If Hey Arnold fans, if that name does anything for you.
That's such an evoke.
I really like the Megadeus in episode 7, the swampy, the one that's kind of wearing a big ghillie suit until it gets shorn off and it looks like this big neon grinning psychopath. I really like the way that one looks.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of cool things with obfuscating the deuces before like we get the reveal. Like in the Nothing Burger Cop Riot episode, the 3-headed projection mech is such a cool concept. Like,
yeah.
I love that the reveal we get is it post getting shot the fuck up, and then we get the like, here's what it looked like before it got fucked up by Big O, and it's like, hell yeah.
The Dagon mech also has a big anchor for an arm, which to me it may not be a reference, but it evokes Neptune from Giant Robo, which is a mech that we don't see a lot of at all, but it was like one of my favorite ones I saw in the whole thing. I thought it looked so cool. So I just liked to see that again.
And in terms of talking more about the last episode here in the set, episode 7, really fascinating. Again, like I think we're getting a gesture to the lower down you go in the subway, the newer it gets, in terms of you can go into the underwater parts of the city and there are divers down there. And I mean, they're doing a specific thing, but there are people who are like entering spaces where memories might be preserved that no one else really is entering.
I almost feel like, because we don't get the answer as to what exactly they were doing down there. I think the implication is that there are people that live in these kind of like tight pocketed, like oxygenated buildings somehow.
Well, I thought the thing was that they went down for the memories of the Megadeus that was down there.
Well, they might, but the other thing is that like nobody ever sees them. They're so tied to the underwater part that like until we see that they're divers, the implication is that they're some sort of creature.
Yeah. And I mean, it is said by Roger when they get down there. I mean, there's a real BioShock Rapture energy where they point out that it's like the rooms are not arranged like they've been abandoned for 40 years. They kind of look like people were just here, which is another creepy thing.
Because they're in a sub and the sub gets attacked by the divers and they have to just kind of like emergency breach a building and they don't know why it has oxygen. They just know that it does. And so they're operating under the assumption that they're going to run out of oxygen, but we don't even really know that that's true. They could have, the people that may live down here may have just devised a way to make this work. And I just think that's really interesting.
We are living in ruins and there isn't a central unifying government or method of communication. So there's really no way to know if BioShock is happening over here. And in the subway,
Andrew
there's like
Ryan lives down there. He's just doing his own thing.
Yeah, there's no way to know what layers of society are living in different places. Like again, in episode 3, Electric City seems to be like its own like weird Luddite colony. There's all sorts of different societies that seem to be layered, and then there's no way of them like communicating.
There's always a man, there's always a city, there's always a giant mecha, right?
yeah.
There's always a dome.
I do want to say, Nico, I want to know your reaction to when Angel takes off her jacket and we see the scars.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, Angel is an interesting character. Angel is an interesting character, right? Because she's very clearly like, we're doing noir, we need a femme fatale. But she is an interesting character in the sense that she has this mutable identity even more than the people who no longer have memories. She is able to insinuate herself in different circumstances and go by different names. And she's one of the many tricksy blondes that we see in this show who are just kind of like blondes that cause problems in a funny way. Hi, Brent. But I this is so funny to me. I think in the notes you put down, she evokes the boss in an interesting way for you. I think she does, not the least of which because they have to have her. First, Roger is wearing a full black suit. He is wearing layers. He's not hot overheated.
Excuse you. For some reason, he broke the rule and he's wearing brown today only. This is the only episode where he wears brown.
It's his expedition outfit, guys.
But like he's in layers, he's not overheated. She gets overheated specifically so that she takes off her dress, which only covers slightly more skin than her underwear does.
Yeah.
It's not really that much of a change, but the only reason it happens is so that you can see these scars. And I think it's interesting that, like, one, they evoke, it's like, oh, that's where wings would be on the body. Maybe that's something to do with the angel, blah, blah, blah. But I also think it's interesting because she is able to anonymize herself to such an extent that she insinuates herself right next to Rosewater. That identifying scars is an interesting component of that to me. I don't know if they're going to do anything with it in season 2, but I liked the idea that, like, she has identifying marks. They're just hard to find. And now only like Roger is privy to some of that knowledge.
One more thing on this, which is the Ocean Gate submarine is really cool that they use here. But what I want to say is I've kind of evoked it before, and I don't want to play my hand too hard for Nico, but like the Mega Deuces in this as a metaphor for nuclear weapons, and the way that this world has stripped away what I like to call the delivery methods of nuclear weapons. Like, we don't really do big boats anymore. We don't do submarines anymore. Airplanes, we don't do that shit anymore. Anything that could conceivably move a weapon, like when we get the big duo and it's like, oh shit, it can fly. That's like fearful because, oh, that means weapons of mass destruction can be delivered to other places. In the way that like the subway as another method of transportation. Okay. Did we talk about the train that Big O rides on?
We haven't talked about it. All I could think about with this is Jordan Peele's Us, because he has a title card that comes on screen that's like, there's like 3,000 miles of abandoned railways in the United States. And I was just thinking, maybe there's a fucked up rabbit experiment down there. Maybe Big O is down there.
Big O's down there. Did you guys catch what it's called?
I was actually just looking that up because it has a name. Brian, do you know?
Yeah. It's called the Prairie Dog.
That's right.
That's such a good name.
Because it pops up. Isn't that fucking? I love it. I think it's so silly. It's really good.
But the best, this is where we get the sell, which is it has to get to him, and it just rams through the wall into the water to get to him.
Hell yeah. Big O will do whatever it takes. Okay.
Hell yeah. Did we talk about the best part of Big O? Is I know you did it in your intro. It just goes back into the ground, and they're like, well, we can never catch that Mega Deuce. It's in the ground now.
I want to know who is footing the bill. I guess it has to be Paradigm as a corporation. Who is doing all this road reconstruction?
That's what those metal plates he keep driving over are. Those are over giant mech-sized holes. It's like the of it all, right? They don't fix the roads. They put a plate down.
They're not fixing it. That's the thing. They already live in a ruin. And at one point, Alex Rosewater makes a comment saying, like, actually call the military police back. That mysterious Mega Deuce is cleaning up the ghetto anyway.
There have been a couple of references. In the Ghost episode, one of the military guys who gets got specifically is saying, like, oh, we need to clean up this rabble. There's a real, like, urban blight subtext to this in a way that's so interesting. It's like our city... Like, if you think about the memory economy, most of those memories are probably coming out of the ruins. So it's like we need the ruins to exist as something that we can commodify and we can extract value from. But we do not like the unsightly blight of the people who live in the ruins. So it's like, it's this like broken windows kind of energy of like, if we can just level that area completely flat, it'll be better to look at and we'll like it more. But at the same time, the way I understand it is like you can't ever really get rid of the ruins because then you might be burying who knows how much memory under just like new fresh pavement. So like you can't really repair things.
The secret to uranium could be out there.
The flash drive with the Manhattan Project could be out there.
Okay, part 3. Cool. Dorothy adopts a cat. The 2-bit kidnapper returns and earns Roger's uninhibited wrath. And Dawson remembers watching a movie. I love the cat episode. It is so
episode that
batshit.
makes you hold your cat. Because I got to the end and I'm like, damn, that cat's just dead. Okay, cool, great.
Alice, I like that you evoked Star Trek earlier because this whole episode is so data coded to me.
Yeah. Data was an inspiration for Sato. Konaka and the construction of Dorothy.
That's so good. I mean, you love to see
sense.
Heaven Will Be 9 in our size. We could never be so tender. You love to see the android that could snap your neck by going like this, just gently petting a cat. It hits every time for me. I think it's so good. I also love that at one point Roger asks a question because Dorothy adopts this cat. Roger doesn't super want it around, but I also love that Norman just. Norman and Dorothy are servants, but also like Norman is not going to budge on this. The cat's here. Like, and he makes that very clear.
There's such an interesting dynamic here because obviously there's a Batman illusion happening here. He's got a butler, he's got his Batmobile, he's got his whole thing, right? But the relationship between Norman and Dorothy and Roger, in contrast to the people we see in the domes, in the East Dome, who are multimillionaires and Rosewater, they have servants. For Roger, this is his family that happens to have a job title. I especially was thinking about there's a part in one of these later episodes where he and Norman are sitting in the kitchen peeling potatoes together. Like, there are many times that Roger does tasks with Norman that are very clearly tasks that would normally be delegated to a servant. And it does feel that, like, the title of butler or the title of maid is more of just like a gesture, and they do kind of just like live in this house in a way that is more cohabitative than like master servant in an interesting way, especially when we find out that like Norman is the one that knows how to repair Big O. Like, Norman is an essential part of this operation.
That scene is so good and is like some of the best world building where the butler from Batman is just like,
Michael Caine.
I don't really question how I know to be the best mechanic for Big O ever. I'm just here to make sure dinner's out on time.
No, what he says is, I mean, do you know why you can pilot it so good? And Roger's like, oh, I guess that's a good point. Because no, he doesn't.
Norman, especially in season 1, appears to know a lot more.
Yes.
I love that he wants dinner out on time each time. There is a scene where before he goes to the water, he says to Norman, "No, I won't need dinner tonight." And earlier in the episode, he told Dorothy, "Well, we got to make dinner and have it ready just in case he comes back." And it's like, no, he very obviously told you to not make dinner. And he's like, "No, I make dinner every night." And then later
he's like, "Man, I wish I ate dinner."
I love the scene too where, and I don't even remember what episode this is. It's just, it could apply to any of them, but Big O is on its way to Roger's location. It's an emergency. He's talking to Norman on the phone. The shot composition is Norman is talking about being sorry that dinner is going to be late, but it's Roger's life is in danger and Big O needs to be there. That's the conversation they're having. But all of the shots of Norman are like waiting for the beef Wellington to be done in the oven.
I love
it's
it.
So good.
Because everyone knows that once the mech fight starts, it'll only take like 10 minutes for him to win, and then dinner will be ready perfectly on time. I know that this needs to rest for 15 minutes, obviously. So
anyway, I just the point I wanted to make about the cat episode is the question Roger has about the cat thing is Dorothy coming into her own as a person because she's spending time with people that she cares about, or is she still sort of just haunted by the memories of the person she's supposed to emulate when she was created? Which is literally the question at the heart of the video game Citizen Sleeper. People should play Citizen Sleeper. That game is so good. I could not stop thinking about Citizen Sleeper during this episode.
You can also watch the VODs for this on twitch.tv/OSGpod.
The VODs are on YouTube, but
they're
yes.
on YouTube.
Oh, shit.
I do.
Real quick, before we pivot away from the episode, I will say I'm a little cooler on this episode just because I feel like Legacy of Amadeus does it all better. Maybe I wasn't as taken by the imagery. Not that like character growth has to be quantified either. Of course, you can iterate on this, but if I had to pick a stinker in Big O Season 1, I would say there are no stinkers, but if I had to pick a weakest episode, for me, it's the Pero episode. Even though I like Pero. No slight against Pero, of course. It's just I feel like It's kind of like an ongoing joke with me and my Big O friends that it seems like Paradigm City is full of mad scientists. Like, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a mad scientist.
The mad scientist quotient is off the fucking chart.
I love these guys.
And there's a part of me, and this harkens back to, I believe, Brian and Nico, you brought this up earlier. Like, I do wish, even though I think it is meaningful that he only takes jobs from Paradigm, there are like snapshots of like more humdrum jobs. Like, one episode opens with him helping an old woman. I want to see that job. I just want like one non-mad scientist / Paradigm job.
I'm with you on that one.
I think I forgot a point I was going to make about Norman is that in reference to these mad scientists that are cropping up everywhere, there's a lot of discussion in the show about the people who are most troubled by the amnesia are older people. Because they have a context. One, you're older, like you wake up and you don't remember anything, but you're older than everyone else, and like you've kind of lost your youth in a real way. But also, they are people who are more likely to have been agents in the world before. And I found it so interesting that, like, often when we're running into a mad scientist, he's either remembered or found a memory that was related to his work, whether you're the eel guy or the chimera guy or the what. I did have a total head whiplash with hearing the word Rinkinjutsu. Like, oh, hey, we're back in Full Metal Alchemist territory. But
because they did it, that Full Metal Alchemist invented that word.
Yeah, they did.
That's real. Yep.
No, but Norman is one character, and the only gesture we get at it is when he's repairing Big O. But he's a character who is older and also seems untroubled by the lack of memory. He seems perfectly complacent in his role. And I found that really interesting when we start getting hints of like, oh, well, he knows how to repair Big O. It's like, everyone who we meet who is older in this setting maybe seems like a mad scientist, because for me, I was thinking about World War II and the economy of like, if you were an academic, if you were anyone who had specialized skills, you were folded into the war effort. And so that makes me think that like everyone who is older and has any kind of knowledge was complicit in whatever this conflict was. And that's why we keep seeing so many mad scientists. It's like, yeah, I think everybody kind of was put in the position of being a mad scientist in the world that was before.
Quick W for Norman. He also knows how to just bring a light machine gun out of nowhere and fire it like a fucking badass.
I love him. When he does that, I'm like, what the fuck? But also, that's exactly what you should be doing, Norman.
Yes.
That Batman lore that I forget, wasn't Alfred in the SAS in World War II? Isn't that like a major core of his backstory
I don't
in
know.
Batman?
You can watch the documentary Pennyworth.
Yes, though, depending on the version.
Oh, boy.
Did you know that he's dead in the comics and like Bane snapped his neck and he's been out of the comics for like the last 10 years?
Real quick, on that note, I feel like they're not paying him enough. There's a moment in the manga where Norman's like building up the courage or finding an ideal opportunity to ask Roger for a pay raise, and Roger kind of brushes it aside. This is all to say, Norman, you should look into unionizing. And hope Roger would probably be a union brusser.
Dorothy is who you need as your shop steward, because if management starts any shit, she'll just lift Roger like a twig and just be like, union mandated 15.
Yeah, she would be an excellent union rep.
Yeah.
I really like, speaking of the crazy scientist, I'm interrupting you, Brian. This as a metaphor for post-war America is very fun to explore. I really like how it's like, well, post-war, crazy scientists didn't really know what to do. Like, you saw Oppenheimer. What are we doing with that asshole after the war? Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
I enjoy my free
We're
time.
mostly putting him in tribunals about whether or not he's communist.
We gotta stop it. He better not be foreign.
But, the Peril episode, I can see it being weak. I think the way that it hits for me is that it's another gesture, like the eel thing, we were just doing whatever fucked up kind of unethical shit. And we're in a world that, it reminded me a little bit of Roadside Picnic in the sense of we are in a landscape with hazards that we can't perceive. And to me, that was kind of the thing with this alchemy thing. It's like your child can just be consumed as part of this process. And this guy who just came out of nowhere and has this knowledge, there's not a lot you can do about that. When you find a memory, I bet it's like 50-50. You find a saxophone or you find a horrible weapon that kills you instantly. And this was another episode to me that gestured at the underlying horror of living in a city and not having any knowledge of what was there. You know, because then you'll just run across this guy who has a chimera pit, and your son can be totally consumed by it, and there's no way back, either for your son or for Pero the cat once it's been incorporated into the chimera. I thought that was interesting, but again, it's one of those, like, the half-completed work is more compelling than the completed work, because then again, I started projecting all of my ideas about, like, oh my god, there's probably all these fucked up hazards and fucked up people that you never know if you're going to encounter them in the city.
Nico, real quick, continue to live in that space.
Okay, I'm inhabiting it. I'm inhabiting it. I love that.
Draw that
Don't
energy.
lose that space.
I have a theory. I think that they secretly had Imago guest to draw this next mech because it is the most. This mech is one of the random ones you don't see ever again. That's in an intro of Giant Robo, the golden one that Beck drives. It's like so nothing and so weird looking. I love this episode because I think when you talk about Big O, one of the sequences that people remember is the hip chain, drag him back, grab him by the fucking face, and blow his fucking brain out. Like that shot is one of the best animated things in the whole show. It is so good. And the thing is, again, it's like Gundam. Like, it's the violence of it. It's the fact that Beck has fucked with Dorothy again, right? In the same way. He's back. He's doing the same thing. It's so violating. It pisses Roger off so much. It just rules. That's it. That's like the only thought I have about the whole episode. Oh, the mech is called Beck Victory Deluxe, which I just think is funny.
My favorite part about the Beck Victory Deluxe is, you might not know this, but Big O shows up in Giant Robot Wars a lot, and when the Beck Victory Deluxe shows up, it's always the funniest shit because his hands are always up. It's so good. It's so good.
His hands like stay like this
Real ones
until they're spinning.
will know what I mean when I say this, but big P-Jack energy. If you're on Tumblr, you will understand that.
I'm not a real one.
Nope.
Do you want to see? So we are becoming Super Robot Wars. I just want to show a
I did know
screenshot
this,
from Super
actually.
Robot Wars that is so specifically OSG. Here's the Beck Victory Deluxe with Gunbuster 3. Which is a real thing that happened in Super Robot Wars.
Hanging out. God.
Oh my god, that's so amazing.
I fucking hate this.
Look at the running.
This is too much. Yeah, again, I agree with the HR comic. I thought Beck was fun in the beginning, definitely Lupin the Third energy. But unfortunately, I just don't care that much about him. I did like that he grew a beard in prison, and then when he got out, he was like, how can I make this kind of fashion? And like did like the shave cuts in it and everything.
I don't think the show cares that much about him either. I think he is back to just kind of illustrate how far Dorothy and Roger have come. And
do we think Beck and Angel are related? Or are they just blondes that are evil?
They have similarly drawn hair.
Yeah.
I don't want to answer that.
I have vague recollections of season 2, and I feel like we know that the answer is no because of some stuff. But anyway.
If you take anything away from the Big O, it's that blondes are evil.
Whoa! Angel's done nothing wrong. Speaking of blonde people who have done nothing wrong, let's get to the French blowing up a church full of people and trying to blow up Disney World.
This episode is so funny. All I could think of at first was the Twilight Zone episode, because there's a pivotal Twilight Zone episode from the 60s where a little toy robot is like terrifyingly dangerous, and I was just like, that felt like an obvious allusion that they were making, especially with the black and white film stuff. I love Daston, and shout out to the one person on AO3 who saw the mission, who saw the objective, and wrote the only Daston and Roger fic on AO3. You're the real one.
There's only one.
There's only one.
There's only one.
That's insane.
We gotta fix that.
We gotta get those numbers up, people.
Actually, Nico, real quick, because I won't be able to interject this in later. On AO3, there is a user by the name of Shadow Dorothy who is currently translating the Big O novel / light novel. It was released Actually, it was released after season 2 aired in Japan, but it's meant as like a quasi bridge text between the seasons. And I believe it's only they're currently working their way through it. I think they're like 75% through it, and hope to finish early next year. But I'm eager to read that once it's released in full.
Me too.
Shout out to the scribes and scholars on archiveofourown.org.
If it weren't for them and like Zionic Front, we would be getting no media translated. I swear to God.
Dawson doesn't super do it for me. I was kind of.
That's wild to me
episode,
because he feels like another run at Jet Black.
He is another run at Jet Black. It's actually really funny because I almost expected him to be voiced by the same guy, because Steve Bloom plays Roger.
I think I had an initial reaction to Dan similar to Brian's, is because I couldn't help but compare him to Jet from Cowboy Bebop. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's just too cop coded for me at the time. But you know, Jet is the classic film noir disgruntled police officer because he leaves the force, and the Big O has like similar vibes, but never actually like interrogates that to its fullest extent. I don't think it's that interested in the question.
You have Angel, who's obviously Faye Valentine trying to chase down memories. Like we have a lot of echoing of Cowboy Bebop here.
Well, I think it's less direct echoes, and I think it's more, again, like these were on the same network. I think these were questions and ideas and character types that the executives and the creative teams were interested in. So it's interesting to see a lot of different runs at these kind of ideas.
I think this episode does the most asking what it means to have, because like, Nico, you made a point about external memory storage. Like, we don't get a firm 100% diegetic, like this is how this works answer of what it means to have and get memories in this world. And so this troubles that in a way that I think is interesting. I just don't think any of the plot stuff works for me. Now, it does save itself at the end by having a mech version of the tiny fucking robot toy. Yeah. That hits so hard. That is, all of my notes from that point on are in caps. It rules. It's too good. They need to be stopped.
But this episode, I think, asks really interesting questions about external memory storage. This is another case where the original film that's referenced has been destroyed, which I definitely think is something that is in the cultural zeitgeist around animation and television and movies because of how many have been lost in fires and how many have been destroyed because they weren't thought culturally relevant anymore. So like there's the destruction of external media storage. There's the recovery of memories, especially triggered by specific events. I'm thinking about Roger in Dorothy's lap, and then Dustin being put in the exact same position as the film and then recovering that memory in the theater. But also, this is the episode that asks questions about, hey, does the world exist outside of America in the Fallout universe? I mean, in Paradigm City?
Yeah. Well, we know France existed, and there is a character who comments that Schwarzwald is German.
Yeah, there's a lot of German, surnames and stuff in here.
I mean, this is just Mecha Hitalia. I want to evoke it right now. We've got all of the different...
Hold on!
This is not a visual medium, but Brian and I just both recoiled as if we had been struck.
I'm ready to drop my Big O theory on all of you. So Big O is the nuke developed by America. Big Duo is the Operation Paperclip in Germany. The three mechs we see at the ending are France, Britain, and South Africa getting nukes at the end. I want everybody to just sit in this and at me in the DMs. We can talk about it later. Okay.
Steven was nodding. I'm glad Steven nodded because this is nonsense to me.
I'm in well, to be fair, I mean, no disrespect, Alice, but I'm in the habit of that when my students are just going off about something just to nod.
Thank you. First off, thank you. And second off, was it the Reichstag fire or was it Fahrenheit 451 that happened?
Fahrenheit 451 was a fictional book.
Wait, what? Yeah, I don't understand the question.
In the universe of Big O, were the books burned by the government to suppress the people?
I have to think
in a fascistic way or in a post-capitalist way?
I think the fascists were happy that it happened. It seems to me that the books were burning as an incidental part of the giant cataclysm caused by all the megadeuses destroying everything.
I think yes and no, because one thing that's interesting is that the one book we see preserved was the one by Gordon Rosewater. So the only one that's been preserved is the one by the father of Alex Rosewater.
What's the name of that one?
Metropolis.
It's called Metropolis. Also, I just want to say, because we said Gordon Rosewater's name, who voices him in the dub? That's right. It's William Knight. Our father has returned. Fucking straight up, this dude starts talking, and I'm like, Aramaki? Can I not escape?
He said, "Watch me eat this fucking tomato."
But like, the bookshelves are empty. The bookshelves are not destroyed.
Yes.
And to me, that has an implication.
That's
like
a great
the books
point.
were removed,
You know
and
what?
so selected works could be preserved. And we get hints throughout the show that Paradigm at the beginning, like when the calamity first happened, came in and exerted their control. And part of that control did seem to me to be narrative control. That's actually, I believe that's why the movie was destroyed, if I'm remembering correctly. But like that part of media destruction
Because it
was
had
something
foreigners in it.
Well, so this is this is an interesting thing about the culture, because not only is it about control, it is about, so they talk, I believe it's Angel and Roger when they're yelling at each other underwater. They talk about how there are a lot of people for whom Roger makes the claim that it's like the majority of the population. The only way that people are able to continue existing in Paradigm is by ignoring the amnesia, is by burying the past and letting themselves be contextless. It is the way that they survive. And Paradigm being able to take advantage of that by being like, okay, well, that's the reason we're destroying all of this, things about the past that may or may not like work out for the way that we have a stranglehold on like the hegemony here.
They'll just upset you. You don't need them.
Exactly. I think that's so cool. And the way that the show lets you just kind of have that instead of having somebody like about face the camera and say it.
I also want to talk about security theater. I think this show was made in 1999, and I think it really talks about a lot of the fears going into the war on terror. Early on.
It's crazy that this is pre 9/11.
Yeah, I just had a
really
brain blast of like what this show would have been like post 9/11.
Yeah. Well, no, because here's the thing. An American company in 2004 after 9/11 is going to
I'm literally gonna
produce
get to
the
see
second
it.
season.
I'm gonna get to see it. Holy shit.
So we will talk about that.
But yeah, the French are pretty cool. That's it. love the French. Love what they do in this show.
There's a French Big O dub.
Oh, Alice, why aren't you watching the French Big O dub? You're a fake fan.
So in the French Big O dub,
of the French,
when they're reading the line in French and Dotson is just saying it's some foreign language, do they read it in English and they're like, it's some foreign language?
I do like at the end that like
good question.
There's subtitles. And like that's how he remembers what that phrase means, is he gets the memory back of the movie where there were subtitles, which I thought was really cool.
Do we think that Dotson should get that thing on his head checked out?
Okay, first of all, Daston, because I kept making the same mistake. I kept thinking of him as Dotson, like the little truck.
No, he's a Dotson. Yeah. His giant...
No, that's just his scar. Would you leave him alone about his, like, big fucked up keloid scar? Like...
Yeah, unlike some people, Goda, he's not going to make it his whole fucking deal for the rest of his life, okay? We should respect that.
All right, it's Christmas. It's Merry Heaven's Day, everyone.
Hey, Merry Heaven's Day,
Merry
everybody.
Heaven's Day. Part 4. I put this in the notes as part 1. It's gonna bother me. Part 4, episodes 11 through 13. Psycho Santa totally and completely gets away with terrorism. Roger almost meets his match in a reunion against Schwarzwald, and what appears to be a psycho version of Dorothy is running around doing grisly murders. These episodes are bigger. I love these so much. Peak.
Yeah.
I have one thing to say, which is, do you know what Heaven's Day was originally for? It's the day God's son was born. This line from Rosewater is the best world building in this entire show. That's it. That's what I'll say.
And the fact that the old people still go to the church and sing, even though they don't know what it signifies. I'm obsessed. Oh, what do you do with 1,000-year-old religion that you no longer remember? All you have are the signifiers. Like, it's like, fuck.
It's you know what it is? Cool. It's Book of the New Sun. It's that shit.
Well, I think this is one of my favorite tropes in post-apocalypse fiction, is how do we reinterpret the world that we only have in fragments? Like, and I love it every time. I love it whether it's Novak in Fallout New Vegas being the no vacancy sign. I love this kind of shit. And so having it pop up and having everyone be like, well, this is related. You do the big tree and you do a gift exchange because we got wine and bread, very Catholic coded, from Paradigm. And then, like, it's like Paradigm has more pieces of Christianity, but the people have less. And yet all of the signifiers of both commercial Christmas and Christianity are still there. It's so baffling.
It's baffling. Now, this is harder to get a straight answer out of Steven or Alice just because you guys have seen it so many times. I'm not sure if you even know what the real take on this would be. But Nico, how there's a manipulation that Norman makes of Roger in this episode, and I'm wondering if you caught on it right away when Norman's telling Roger about Dorothy's birthday.
Yeah, he lies to him about when her birthday is and tries to claim that her birthday had been set to Heaven's Day so that Roger would give her a gift.
Well, get her a present. Yes.
Okay. Shoutouts to Queen. I love the very beginning of this episode when she's shopping for a tie to give him. And the lady's like, we only have funeral ties in black. And she's like, it's fine. I'm shopping for someone with no taste.
Kusanagi should have said this when she was buying that wine opener.
Yeah. That's exactly.
It's a shot-for-shot recreation of what's happening here.
I love their relationship. I've also been a woman in a relationship who doesn't want to just be like, you're going to get me a gift for Christmas, right? Like, it's just a social mores. You're going to do this. And my partner being like, I don't really do Christmas. And it's like, that's not the point.
You do
here.
now. And Norman will make you.
The ending of this, so a couple things we haven't talked about is the framework of the show.
The ending is so sweet.
The ending is so adorable.
It's
I love
saccharine, but I love the guy who can't play the sax. Love him.
I love, so there's this, at the end of each episode, there's text that comes up and in the space cowboy kind of way. And the one at the end of this is Merry Xmas. And that's just so like, hey guys, remember the war on Christmas? Paradigm City perfected the war on Christmas. We have
you mean the war on
any Christianity
Day?
From it.
I love Mob Psycho 100.
I like when Dorothy dances during the scene while they're by like a destroyed puddle of water because of the fight. This is just so cute.
Well,
this
she's
is
doing
so adorable.
the spinny thing when you get a new dress. She's got this big new coat. I do think it's funny
good.
that he went and bought a coat off the rack and then had it tailored just based on the fact she's a size 7.
I think it's kind of sad and kind of sweet and kind of weird, the vibes where it's like, it very clearly the sax guy wanted to buy that coat for his girlfriend, and now he has to sit there and watch Roger give it to Dorothy.
It is kind of
well, his girlfriend's blind, so she wouldn't even know.
Also, absolutely fuck Roger for a thing he says to that guy, which is like Roger coming up from on high in his fucking dome skyscraper being like, why are you trying to take the easy way out? Fuck
we
you,
need
dude.
to drag Roger Smith out of his Batmobile and eat him in the street.
Yes.
He literally said, maybe if you were good at the sax, you'd be able to afford
Maybe if you
this,
pulled
piece of
yourself up
shit.
by your bootstraps, you'd be able to afford your girlfriend's
It
ring
was
or
so
whatever.
funny because to me that felt like out of character in a weird way, but like it was like a plot necessity because the saxophone guy had to have the fucked up. Hey, everyone listening, the saxophone guy had to have the fucked up seed that would grow the ultimate Christmas tree. Like, just keep that in mind. That was a plot necessity.
That a creepy scientist dressed as Santa gave him on the Hudson Bridge. Normal things that happen on Christmas Eve.
Have you not had Psycho Santa give you a Kira seed on Christmas Eve? Have none of you have had that happen?
I've never been to New
Miracle
York.
of Christmas.
I'm aware of SantaCon, and I assume that's when that would happen.
SantaCon is such a cursed fucking concept.
When does Akira come out?
88?
1988. Okay. I feel because the animation of the thing originally springing out of his pocket is so Tetsuo coded to me. It's at 1 million frames a second. It's gross. It's like this weird organic thing that's happening. I also love that like we lose here, right? Like the evil Santa, we never see him again. He totally gets away with whatever his plot is. The only reason it stops happening is because he wanted it to stop growing at some point.
He
made it so it would stop growing. Well, I love it because like that's what you do with a Christmas tree is you grow we've genetically engineered them to grow to a certain height and stop growing and then die afterwards because that's just what we do. I want to talk about Dorothy for another 2 seconds because you'll never guess who my favorite character in this show is by a mile. But there are moments when Dorothy implements her fact that she is an android, like when we see her just like doing wild fucking jumps and flips and grabbing on things. She doesn't destroy things when she grabs them, but she moves so wild. And in this one, when she's just like, hey, blind woman, we've got to get somewhere really fast, and I know you can't do it. She picks her up in a Princess Carry and fast runs. And anytime she just starts going.
I love when we're reminded that Dorothy is an android. My favorite moment in this episode has to be when Roger gets on the elevator with the crowd. And is like, what are you doing? Not getting on the elevator. And then she gets on and the weight warning immediately goes off. And she's like, yeah, dumbass. I weigh like 500 pounds. It was
I like
so
that he
good. I love those
apologizes
moments.
for forgetting that she's fat.
Well, she's dense, is what I'll say. But I also love the moment where, oh shit, I lost it. Oh, when they decide to put in the mechanical noise of her moving. Because so often she just moves and there's no problem. We're not hearing a constant mechanical cacophony when she's playing the piano. But every once in a while she'll turn her head and they'll just put the mechanical noise in
like
there.
a servo
and I love
noise
it every time. I love it every time. It's so fantastic.
It's so good. Also, that elevator just fucking sucks shit. It had like a 200-pound weight limit. Who's building these elevators? Do
you think that there are a lot of people left who remember how to maintain elevators? Let's just be really careful.
There have to be, and they're probably all mad scientists. That's the problem.
I'm just gonna say this once.
I remembered how to make an elevator. I have to kill everyone.
Okay. Methods of transportation. Number one, wild that there wasn't an elevator operator with all of the aged things that they're trying to evoke in this department store. But also, we haven't talked about all of the wonderful means of public transportation here, including the Paradigm Vertical Tram, which might be the greatest vehicle in this entire show.
Paradigm City is a 15-minute city, but at what cost?
Only for Gordon Rosewater.
Shit.
Rosewater's office. Can we talk about the Mech office, which is just a giant circle that just moves to different conference rooms on top of the dome?
Possibly
What
the
are we
most
doing?
fucked civil infrastructure conference room we've seen since Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, where the conference room went down to the giant aquarium tank where they had Godzilla's bones. Like, this is the next evolution of fucked up conference room.
Speaking of Godzilla, episode 12 is, I thought it was very notable how episode 12 is structured exactly like a Godzilla movie.
Kadiyama is obsessed with Godzilla. Like, Shore Promise, that banger of a track is basically the Godzilla theme.
It is! Kyle watched the first couple episodes with me, and we both turned to each other, like, in the second episode, and we were like, the intro to, like, the big fight song sounds exactly like the Godzilla fight song. It's a really good little reference.
Is episode 12 the one with the strongest fuck ice mummy? Is that the one where he's somehow found mech-sized bandages to wrap around?
Oh, yes.
It's fantastic. I love strong as fuck ice mummy.
What is strong? I'm not getting the connection.
Oh, well, strong as fuck ice mummy is something, again, for real ones only. Anyway.
Okay. None of us on this podcast are real, apparently.
So you know how we're in a post-nuclear apocalypse world and JFK Airport and the bay outside of it is frozen over because of the untamed destruction that has come to the world? You know.
Alice is really keeping me on my toes in this episode. I have never been more confused by you and the things you're saying.
I did think it was funny that it's like every once in a while... Steven just keeps posting really good memes. I need you to go on the GRF and Blue Sky and see these memes. Big Duo. Can we talk about Big Duo?
We can definitely talk about Big Duo. Big Duo is like a fucking all-timer.
Yeah, first of all, there's like a Harlequin clown mask thing that happens. Also, at one point, Schwarzwald points out the decadence of the bourgeoisie by showing us a middle-aged woman kind of getting her freak on at a party, which is incredibly funny.
Schwarzwald's a podcaster, by the way. He's one of us.
Schwarzwald's a podcaster.
One of us. You're not wrong. I hate it.
He's also the scene where they go to that weird like Eyes Wide Shut party that Schwarzwald's running. It reminds me so much of a book called The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. I don't know if anybody's read that one. It is that book is so good. Everyone should read it. It is the funniest Soviet era Russian novel you will ever read, which is an insane sentence. You don't think of Soviet era Russian novels and think comedy. But that book is just about the devil running around Moscow, like making fun of the Soviet Union. Like that's basically all he's doing in that novel. It's incredible.
I think a lot of Soviet media has a very dry, sublimated, hyper-censored, extreme humor, though. So,
but it's like, but this book has like a whimsy to it that is just it's perfect. But
I do
the
think
way
it's
that
really funny the extent to which they try to do like a Sallow thing and be like, look at the decadence of the elite. But this is like a PG-13 show, so they can't really show
yeah, and
like
that's
I
one
said,
of the things
they just have
too.
a middle-aged woman getting up on a table feeling herself, and it's like the
But
decadence.
they managed to make it a little bit disturbing by like everyone's wearing those masks and the way they're eating is so violent. It kind of hits
these masks, by the way. I did love that. It's like, oh, look at the decadence of the rich, and they're dead.
and they're dead. Yeah, the masks all burst into flame, and I like Roger's like holding his and just kind of like, ow, but everyone else dies.
I do want to say that this is also just veneer from Konosuba. That's it. I just want to say that that's what these masks are. I loved that episode. A++. That's for me
Alice
only.
is going to say something I understand in this episode. I'm manifesting it.
Me and Alice are trading off saying inscrutable things to you.
I was going to say real quick, this episode's kind of like a tech demo in that it kind of strips any substance of the Big O away, and it's just the biggest, baddest motherfucking Mechs fight you've ever seen.
It's just a mech fight. And it has some really great just artistic flair. There's a shot of Big O holding one of Big Duo's bandages that, again, is a mirror shot of Roger holding the gasoline-soaked bandage from episode 4. It is the same shot. Just incredible stuff with like how the mech relates to the person piloting it. But yeah, I mean, the Big Duo can fly. It has a great scene like that reminds me of like any super robot where it's like this one is the one where you might actually lose, where it's like crushing Big O's head and like the eyeball thing pops out. Just great stuff all around.
Well, and I think that this is an interesting thing to have come on the back of the Christmas episode, because the Christmas episode was also the first episode we saw where it looked like Big O was going to lose. And the only reason he didn't lose is because the plan concluded, and it was not in the plan that he specifically lose. But I like that because we've already seen Big O shake it up, so this is like building on that in an interesting way.
Well, I like the metaphor of like the Big O's as weapons of war, and like the domes were built to protect people in this weird way, and then it's been, the Star Wars defense system by Reagan, like in theory is a good idea, and we could use that for our military apparatus. But in the way that Roger refuses to intersect with what Paradigm is doing in the military-industrial complex is really cool. Can I get a nod from Steven like I'm a student going off the reading again?
I would, if you were my student, Alice, I'd give you major kudos for referencing anything from before like the year 2015.
That's fair. I want to say I wasn't laughing at Alice's read. I was laughing at the phrase, the Star Wars defense by Reagan. Just that phrase. I don't know what it means, but I was laughing at it.
Well, no, that's what he called his program of like wanting to do Defense Department shit with NASA and with our space program. He called it Star Wars.
They were going to shoot down nukes in the sky.
Yep.
Cool. Ronald Reagan, chill guy.
We've gone on record as being very pro-Reagan on this podcast. I really feel like Big O has really shown us how much we can really love capitalism, we can love corporations, we can love a militarized police, all things we can love.
What do we make of Big Duo activating itself? And it very much appears to be desperate to reach the central spire of Paradigm City. What do we make of that? It fails.
Like that
it
this
deactivates.
is where we get the first inkling of, one, the Megadeuses possibly have their own autonomy, and two, the Megadeuses possibly choose their own pilots. Because Schwarzwald pilots it, but the implication, what I thought was being captured here, is that Big Duo was trying to get to Rosewater. That's the way I read it.
That's what I read into it too.
And that kind of desperate reaching, it's like, I really like the idea that like Big Duo is only defeated by Big O because it does not have the correct pilot. And I really like that idea, especially in conversation with the rest of mech media. I'm a huge fan of mechs that are either alive or sentient or have some sort of autonomy and have a preference about their pilot. I really like that, and I like that because it feels like it enhances the relationship between Big O and Roger, which has never really been stated until like the next episode. We get a little bit of that, but like
the next episode
it lends us like back in time some idea of like, why is Big O always like ready for Roger and like ready to help save Roger and save other people and stuff. Also explains because we have the underwater one that saves Angel. in the underwater episode, makes a point of saving Angel and depositing her safely on shore. Like, I like the idea that, especially I like the idea that a weapon of mass destruction does not want to be a weapon of mass destruction. I think that's a really cool concept.
When I was watching season 1 for the first time, the reason why I keep prefacing my statements with the first time is because I'm season 2 pilled, which throws off my reading a bit. But when I was initially watching The Big O, I kind of chalked it up to what you guys were talking about, it being like more of an aesthetic concern. And Brian's right, there is kind of like, there is plot reasons, but I'm also reminded of, because anime does this all the time, which you all just mentioned, but like in Hellsing, they just pick out cool things from English and American, I guess more like, British history to pull from, or like things from like Western culture writ large that like sound cool. Like if you've ever seen Hellsing, there's something called the Cromwell Invocation, and there's a little like motto, the bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings to make me tame. It's nonsense. It just looks cool.
I think we should endorse more Occidentalism. As opposed to Orientalism, Occidentalism.
I think the evil shadow side of this is when you're Hideo Kojima and you try to pretend you're doing it all on purpose on some grand design because you have an ideology that you need to get across.
But really,
that's
you've
the
just
evil
seen
version.
Escape from New York 50 times.
Yes, yes.
Great movie. How do we feel about the bombing of Paradigm City with Shin missiles? This bombing segment fucking rips. I love when Big Duo is just like, by the way, in my legs have been 2 of the biggest bombs you've ever fucking seen. And we just have what is essentially a mini nuke go off in one of the domes.
2. He fires both of his little, by the way, the things from Tankhead are back. It's in his knee. And he fires
so cool.
both of them.
So
also,
cool.
This happens in Full Metal Alchemist. There's a character who has a round loaded in her knee. I love it. I love it every time. Put more guns in knees. Yes!
Put more guns in knees.
Steven just posted the Hot Topic starter pack circa 2004 with all the biblical quotes from anime or like references. This is fantastic.
My first Hot Topic shirt was the Nerve logo. That's how ancient I am.
If I had to redo that, so I got a lot of pushback on that meme because people read it literally back when I posted like 3 years ago. Like, actually, the Hot Topic never sold a Big O shirt. If I were to redo that meme now to make it really sing, I'd probably take out Ghost in the Shell and like put an MCR shirt in that'll really sell it.
Yes. Yeah. So this final episode here is like, it has a lot to do. I don't know. So going into this, they knew that WoW had pulled the plug, right? So like, I don't know if they were trying to wrap everything up, but it just has a lot going on, and I think it does a good job.
The energy it has to me is like someone breaks up with you, and so you put on your hottest outfit, and then you go out. That's the energy it has to me, because they're like, oh, you're going to cancel our show? Well, here's all the cool shit we were thinking of doing. Like, here's all these cool elements and this freaky imagery and these new robots, and like, fuck you. Like, that's the energy it had to me. It's like so much is happening, so much. And like, again, like to talk about me as a person who hasn't seen season 2 and then read the GRFM zine after. I specifically made the choice to read it after so that I would experience the show first and then get the context.
Yeah, that's a good kudos. That's the way to do it.
Episode 13 is so wild because again, it feels like a crescendo. It is building towards like, oh, the next episode after this one is going to go crazy, and then there isn't one. And so it's like they were throwing so many things at the wall, and I was going, damn, how are they going to tie this all together? And then you get to the end, and it's like, no, this is your season cliffhanger. And then I read the zine, and it was like, and then it just stopped. That was when I formed that idea that it's like, they found out they were going to be canceled and were like, listen, we had all of this cool stuff in the idea space. Let's just get it on screen to say we got it on screen.
Welcome back, The Orphanage from Hitman Absolution. Welcome back, Agent 47.
Yeah,
Love
they
to
start
see
doing
you,
child
Barcode.
soldier shit here, which is really funny.
All of the orphan shit you could have pulled from our actual canon, and you make yet another reference I don't understand.
No, what I will say is what this episode does and what they do with Mr. Rosewater is they really kind of sell, finally, the idea that this is about how people who lived through the war and people who didn't live through the war interpret the world. And what if we could just hit a reset button and we all forgot? Like, what if we were like, I don't know, Japan in the 1960s, and we had to explore the world in a post-world era, but we couldn't talk about it. We couldn't acknowledge that all of this technology is based on weapons that were used to kill millions of people. Like, I really enjoy Gordon being like, hey, these tomatoes, we just kind of make them off of memories. And, like, we kind of all agree what they taste like. But, like, you ever go out to your farm and you pick a tomato off the vine and you have a salt shaker in your overalls and you just sprinkle it on and you just eat it? Or is that just a Midwest thing?
Sure. Also, I do want to point out when Roger goes to the bar to talk to his informant and he like the bartender knows what to hand him. That is straight up looks like ketchup every time to me.
And he always drinks one swallow and then leaves it. I have to assume that's part of Big Ear's fee. Big Ear gets a wad of cash and then like turns around and drinks like 9/10 of the beer. Like,
do you ever go to your therapist who is a surreptitious Jewish metaphor who gives you information that is also about the mission you're on and an introspection into your life, and you give him a stack of money
and also
for it?
He lectures you?
Yeah, that's Megan, my therapist, Megan.
Megan.
Shout out to Megan.
Shout out to Megan, otherwise known as Big Ear. Do they call him by that name in the show? I must have missed it.
They do, but it's like once.
Okay.
They mentioned it's like, oh,
because I knew his name was
this.
Big Ear for other reasons that I have to occlude, and I also have to change something we're doing later real quick. But I didn't realize it had been that over. Anyway, Dorothy. I mean, there's two big things going on in this episode. One is like something that I don't think is very clear as to what's happening. Like Norman kind of has to say it, and it's still not super clear, which is that at some point after the big amnesia event, Paradigm took a bunch of kids from outside the city and implanted them with pre-amnesia memories. And my reading is that it's strongly implied that Roger was one of these.
Yeah, that was what I got from it too, even though he's not on the list.
Yeah.
There's an implication though.
Yeah, and the implication is he might be on the list. Like, we don't know that R.D. isn't him necessarily until we get to the point where
Roger Smith.
Roger DeSmith.
He's Italian.
Or, well, I also like it because it could also mean Roger - Dorothy. Like, it's good that it's the episode title and it's also like the last name on the list.
Initials
like, that's just kind of like a good little
ambiguous.
thing. Yeah.
Also,
initials
research and development. Whoa.
Research and development. Yeah.
She's our Dorothy. She's our Dorothy.
She's our Dorothy.
She's our Dorothy.
I do love
she's
Evil
my
Dorothy.
waifu, so get that right.
Evil Dorothy has a red disk drive.
Yes.
I love it. I love it so much.
This was an episode I watched dubbed. The dubbed voice actress of Dorothy is incredible as Evil Dorothy. She's giving lines so well. It's amazing.
They did a lot with pushing and pulling the face because Dorothy has a very blank face normally. She has a very impassive face. And so when they went evil with her, they pushed the shapes, they pushed the facial structure, they really twisted and made it monstrous, which was
Alice,
really cool.
I know you have the outfit and you have the hair color. You need to do a Dorothy cosplay.
Yeah, you do.
I know you have that outfit.
I'll be Big O. Oh, all right. So you said there were two things. So there's Evil Dorothy running around.
Well, that was the second thing. The first thing was the amnesia thing. The second thing is Evil Dorothy's running around. I like how we don't really. I don't remember how this resolves in season 2, but I like how we don't really know what's going on with that. Like the way the shot composition goes, it's like Dorothy, the Evil Dorothy appears to be killed, but the shot composition also makes it look like because she's killed by Big O coming up and Dorothy's in the cockpit, it's almost like it's like, did she just jump into the cockpit and like look ready?
Or was it a thing, because we've seen this a couple times where something evil was inserted in the disk drive? Because we see the ejected red disk drive, and it's like, was that what I thought that was really interesting ambiguity there too. Also,
Dorothy keeps finding cigarettes with lipstick on them all over the mansion. Is the implication supposed to be that Angel's been there a bunch of times?
I think so, because we see her smoking those specifically long, thin, and the filter is also white.
Virginia Slims.
She's got the Virginia Slims. Yeah, exactly.
Well, this episode is cool because we see Dorothy explore a bunch of emotions through this show. Like, if you just use her through line as her journey, this is the episode where she deals with the feeling of jealousy. And I think that especially the Christmas episode where she's like, I realize that this is an emotion called love that I'm feeling and I'm exploring it. I know Roger is also just too stupid to ever consider love as something to explore, but in this one, it's the jealousy of another love interest, I feel like, is what Dorothy is experiencing in this, and I really enjoy it.
Well, and I think this also creates an ambiguity because there's a very real way you could think that Angel was the one in the red cloak. Like, if you wanted to.
Well, because she shows up in a red cloak.
The hair under it, like, I swear to God, I'd have to go frame by frame, but I feel like they evoke her hair multiple times. They also evoke the French girl. They evoke other females in this show as, like, the city of Amnesia predicates itself on, I want to go back to an earlier episode, which is like, oh, after the Amnesia event, Italian woman just started a crime syndicate. Or there's, like, a romance that somebody alludes to, like, hey, after Amnesia, me and this guy just decided to get together.
They were standing in the same house.
I already had a kid.
Yeah.
I had a kid already, and that was just going to be our kid now. And it's like, that's pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, for this, like, Roger knows a lot of women. He talks about, like, you know, hey, I just like women come into my house. Like, but he doesn't really remember these women. He doesn't evoke these women. But he remembers Angel and he remembers Dorothy. And I think that that's cool.
And that's cool.
Remember two women in your life?
Well, I
remember
think
at least two women.
I think it's time constraints. I do think it's interesting that it gestures to Ellen Wright was supposed to be one of his employers and then didn't get the chance to fulfill the contract because she got ganked that exact evening. I do think there's a Playboy mystique that's played with here that is very Bruce Wayne, very James Bond, very, like, you know, women come in and out of my life. But I can't help myself but being frustrated because it's like, well, there's a male and female character on screen. We gotta do this into romance. I kind of like the idea of Dorothy being like his weird roommate. But they're clearly really pushing, like you said, the jealousy angle and
I agree. I also think there's lots of space for, because I agree textually with everything Alice said, but I also could just take that as, like, the love that we're talking about is not necessarily romantic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And, like, that's kind of the way I take it. I do agree the show is kind of pushing it a little bit with the romantic love angle. I just think that because of the way that everything is a little bit stark and there's a lot of subtlety going on, you could also kind of read it as, like, Roger's important to her. Mm-hmm. And, like, that can just be that. You know, it doesn't have to be, like, anything more. But yeah, I agree.
I believe this is the episode where we get the flashback to all of the faceplate Bigs or the faceplate Megadeuses in this conflict. This is the episode where we get that sequence.
I'm glad you brought up the James Bond archetype. Because the one thing I do like about the show is that it's not necessarily peddling the archetype, because Roger's a big fucking dork and the show knows it, and Roger goes to great lengths to put on this mysterious aura about him, but also the show undercuts him all the time through Dorothy. It's very possible that Roger's never fucked before, that Roger is just doing this all for show, that he's never invited a woman over to his house
Virgin
for relations.
Roger theory.
well, it's like, it's go on, young man. You should be a bachelor in a cool apartment and have all these aesthetics. Get the Aaron back chair, get a record player, be American Psycho about it, right?
Yeah, I can't believe Roger's real name is Norman Bates. Like, that's wild that came out in the last episode.
I can't believe they deleted the scene from the Dawson episode where Roger's getting him drunk and then he turns around and beheads him with an axe. I can't believe we left that scene out.
Yeah, the business card scene where him and his three fellow negotiators are swapping business cards and showing those off.
Where did he find this paper stock? It must have been in the ruins. No, I will say the dynamic here between the women as appearing in his life and the actual most meaningful relationships in his life, which of course I believe are with Norman and then with Daston. That is why I went on AO3 to see if anyone else had seen the Vision, and someone had seen the Vision. I do think that there is an interesting homosociality that's happening with Daston that, again, because Daston is trapped within the framework of remaining in the military police, whereas Roger is outside of it. Their relationship can only exist in, like, professional contexts, and it's when, like, they make this gesture at, like, oh, Daston will come over and have a drink, but then actually, Roger drank that liquor that he was looking forward to drinking with someone else. Like, they don't actually have that close of a relationship, despite the fact that on screen they have, like, the most, like, connection and familiarity. So,
but yeah, do we have any final thoughts
Francis Ford Coppola in the year 2024/5 released a movie called Megalopolis. And did any of you see it?
No, I've only
I
ever seen the
refuse.
clip of him saying we got to go back to the club.
That's right. Because it's pretty much impossible to watch that movie. He is so specific, won't let it be on streamers. You have to fucking go through all of these. His current thing is you have to go to a physical theater. He's doing a tour. You'll get a free bottle of his wine, and he'll show it you on 70 millimeter to show you that, look at this legacy I have created. Look at this epic I have created.
Shut the fuck up.
This
man.
is I'm gonna say something controversial yet brave. Megalopolis is Jupiter Ascending for guys.
It's
Interesting.
fun. Jupiter Ascending came up a lot in our Big O discussion, so
Yeah.
put a pin in
That's
that.
the Wachowski one, right? I haven't seen it.
The Wachowski sisters. I saw that in a theater with some of my dearest friends, and we lost our
It has
fucking
like Mila
minds.
Kunis.
Yeah. It is batshit
Do people
insane.
like it?
No. Or
Well,
like mixed.
Oh, okay.
People like us liked it.
Yeah, weirdos
Okay.
like it.
We're perverts. Yeah.
So I would
we
like
like it. But you wouldn't like Megalopolis.
That read also applies to Megalopolis, because a lot of my sicko friends really liked Megalopolis. I haven't seen it, but I have a feeling I would like it.
When I watched Megalopolis and I watched Francis Ford Coppola destroy his entire career of filmmaking by creating a magnum opus that nobody but him is going to call a magnum opus, I see in Big O a lot of these themes of grandeur and of created mythos and all of these things that go into it. And when I see Big O and when I watch Big O, when Big O is on screen, I am clapping. Because I love to see Big O on screen doing Big O things. When they're all doing their shit, it feels earned, it feels fun, and there's a soul to it. Because I do feel like you can have a conversation about the natural late stage capitalism, the end goal of the military-industrial complex, the end goal of genetic modification of all of these science things and everything that we're doing to ourselves and our society through media. And then you can have Megalopolis, which is a tone-deaf piece of shit, ugly-looking movie starring bad actors doing bad acting. And that's as hard to watch as this. And I feel like you can gatekeep media in a way that makes it hard to watch. They should not gatekeep this beautiful show like they do Megalopolis.
Some horror should be contained for our protection. Some wonders should be released.
I would do a tour. They should do a tour with this show, and I would take some Paradigm branded wine with that.
Yeah, some
Thank
of their
you.
wine and bread.
Yeah.
I'll say for my part, having never seen this before and having never seen season 2, this is a show where I will say in a very complimentary way, style over substance. This is a show that is all style. The soundtrack, we didn't even really talk about the soundtrack. We've mentioned it a couple times. It goes insane. The soundtrack at all times. There's a saxophone track that gets dropped in like every episode and it hits every time. It's like a really good saxophone track. This show is so stylish in everything it does, from background paintings to soundtrack to voice acting to design. Like, it is stylish. But like I alluded to earlier, whether or not there is a lot of thought behind everything that's on screen is kind of up in the air. It's kind of vague. It's hard to tell. There are a lot of times things just don't fall together. Like the whole thing in the first 2 episodes about Saldano and then Wainwright, just doesn't fall together. But you watch the show, and like Alice said, every time Big O's on screen, you're clapping. It is unrepentantly and constantly stylish in a way that I have a great affection for. Like, not everything has to be perfect. Sometimes it can just look incredibly cool.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Absolutely. Steven, anything?
I will use my court allotted time here to address my co-host, just because I've spoken on mic about Big O so much. I want to preview and warn you of the future for Big O 2. I'd say keep your minds open, because Big O 2, on not that this exists anymore because no one really talks about the Big O, but in the mainstream, after season 2 aired, there's a lot of backlash against it. Season, it's a big tonal shift. It loses its episodic structure mostly and goes for a more serialized storytelling. The ending is very interesting, and the ending is going to change a lot of your points, I think. But the ending is smartly written in that it also leaves the option open for all our points to exist. So whether or not you think it is a cop-out is up to you. But I'm warmer on Big O season 2 than most, but also years later, decades later, I only think about season 1. Season 1 will live rent-free in my mind forever, and I choose to ponder its mysteries as opposed to pondering season 2's mysteries, because a whole bunch of new mysteries they answer some questions, of course, but they also introduce a whole bunch of other mysteries, which I feel like are less satisfying than the philosophical and like socioeconomic discussions that we all had today.
Totally. Yeah.
I do think we have one friend who was severely damaged by Lost. I do think sometimes when you are desperate to maintain mystery, despite the fact that people are understanding what you're putting down and like solving them and thinking about them, if you're desperate to continue adding to the mystery, sometimes you just poison, medicine is poison in a specific amount, right? So
totally. The same friend's also tortured by Megalopolis, by the way, just to put that out there.
But not Severance for some reason? Come on.
That was what got me. That was what got me. I'm like, I think your brain was broken by Lost to the point you can't have fun with Severance, and I'm sorry. Anyway, love you, Ghost.
I will say, I think I have people should get the second Big OZ in, because there's some info in there that I think makes me think about how season 2 came about in its structure that may have kind of shot itself in the foot a little bit.
I'm excited
because of the way that I think like Lost and its ilk presented this new way of television where it's like
now the puzzle box TV,
the
type
puzzle
thing.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you answer a question, you have to start asking another question, even though it's like, well, do we need to go in all these different directions? And I don't know. We'll get into it. I like I said, Big O season 2 is like a big memory wash for me. I know I've seen it, but like Steven, like the first 13 episodes are what the show is to me. And like I said, I like Nico. I 100% respect it. I think there's definitely room for some like curiosities and some like it has some priorities that you could kind of read into, but I cannot help but love it for just being, like I said, everything they do with it stylistically, visually, sonically, everything, all the way up to the hilt. They do not let off the gas on that stuff at all, and I just respect it so much for that.
Nico, though, if you really like the art style of season 1, prepared to be shocked with season 2.
Season 2 looks totally different. It's very strange, but anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we didn't talk about it, but I like when they remote pilot the Mechs. I think that's cool when that happens.
I love the comedy of in the second episode, Beck remote piloting Dorothy 1, and then they're trying to escape, right? And they open the van's back door, and Big O's face is taking up the whole shot outside of it. It's so funny. Yeah.
Oh, not doing anything with that.
All right. I want to just do one last thing, which is put Steven on the chopping block, because we're not going to rate until season 2, but Steven's not going to be on that episode. So Steven, what is your rating of, and without giving anything about season 2 away in terms of Mechs, like I would say you could fold in your opinion of season 2's Mechs also into your rating.
So I'm judging this based off, my numerical score is based off the Mechs in season 1, correct?
You could include season 2 if you want. We just can't talk super much about those ones.
I think it should be your overall Big O Mech rating.
I don't really think like any of the Mechs in season 2 necessarily take away from this numerical score, but it's gonna be pretty high. So I think we rated it out of 10 last time.
Yes.
9.5. Because going back to what I said earlier, I really like the Mechs as gods, and this is something some mecha shows lean into. Giant Robo is one of those shows, of course. Ava's one of those shows. Razafon's one of those shows. Brave Rydeen. There's something, I think I previously equated this to like the romantic notion of the sublime, something in nature that's half terrifying but half pleasurable, and that's every time the Big O shows up on screen. I'm because Katayama is really good at scale, and that really comes out in. To be fair, they're not his mech designs. Sato designed them, but just the way they're framed on screen, they're terrifying. In that, if I was interacting with these mechs or like standing underneath one of them, the size and weight are like demonstrably apparent based on how they're drawn and framed, but also something like mysterious and beautiful about them, like otherworldly. I'm just super compelled by these designs, and also
they're so unique.
They're steampunky as fuck, and that's cool.
Yeah,
at least the Big O is.
Have you seen Ideon?
No, it's on my that's the lost media thing. Not that I don't take to the high seas all the time. I'm fortunate enough, and if any of you ever need any files, let me know, because I have like a guy kind of like Big Ear. I go into a seedy bar virtually and just get whatever files I need.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am like if you can't really see it behind me, but I have a lot of physical media, Big O included, and I'm kind of waiting for someone, probably Discotech, because there's like 3 companies who could potentially do it, to like resurrect and bring back Ideon. But Ideon's like a big thing I need to watch and potentially podcast about.
It reminded me, because I haven't seen it. I've just seen a lot of stuff with osmosis about it, but it is another one of those like Mechs as gods things. And it also has an episode that everyone loves that's about a dome that reminded me of this conversation. Just to put that out there.
Oh my God.
The film Be Invoked is often invoked because of its like in regards to like End of Ava in particular.
Yes.
I want to say I'm very proud of my co-host Nico today for not telling us about the fiction book that she read.
We got through
about
one.
domes.
I didn't read one about domes. I did read one about the Challenger disaster, if that's going to become relevant.
Yes, you did read one about domes. I was there.
Oh, I read Under the Dome by Stephen King. That's why I was so worried about the Christmas tree. I was like, what are the
Classically a
implications?
non-fiction book, Under the Dome by Stephen King.
That's what I was saying. It's like, I always reference the non-fiction book I've read, which is True Flies and O-Rings about the Challenger disaster. I was like, I completely forgot that I read Under the Dome while I was rewiring Alice's house. Anyway.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to play a very short and sweet game. I let my foot off the gas on this one a little bit, and
I can't believe you've done this.
Hey guys, Alice here. Thanks for listening to On the Shoulders of Giants. We're really happy you're here, but if you know anybody who might be interested, we'd love if you share our work with them. If you are enjoying what we're doing, maybe send us a message, or what would really help us out is if you leave a review online. Really, a lot of the algorithms will push people down if they don't have reviews, so it really helps if you just go and write something on the internet. Heck, we might even read one on the podcast if it's really nice and makes our hearts go doki doki. So if you could do that, maybe do it, and thanks again for listening. Now, back to the show.
okay, welcome back from the break. Let's have a little game, shall we?
Oh yeah, let's do that. We've never done that.
We've never done that. This game is called Podcast Amnesia. It's short, sweet, simple. It's kind of what you would think. It's time to look back, except don't do that. If you have an osgpod.com tab open right now, you have to close it legally.
The only tab I still have open is on the strongest fuck ice mummy.
Okay.
I gotta close a lot of tabs real quick. 1 second.
Yeah, like Alice, I have a million tabs open.
I used to
I'm
live
down
the
to just the outline. I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to ask you some podcast canon questions, and you'll have to answer them. That's it. This is multiple choice.
This is like a cruel test for Steven. It's like, you're a real fan. It's like, no. I hope you get all of them wrong.
No, I put some thought into this. It's not going to be that bad.
Okay.
They're not multiple choice. You just kind of have to know the answer or you don't. If you don't know the answer, other people can try to steal, but otherwise it's just very straightforward. And we have some of these. So question 1 is for Alice.
Hello.
Alice, what was Steven's rating of G-Savior on our episode on G-Savior?
I feel like I have
I don't even know
amnesia, but I think it might have been a 6.
I'll say close, but unfortunately that is incorrect. Does anybody else have a...
My amnesia!
Your
I'm
amnesia.
gonna chime in. Was it a 6.5?
No, actually, I think
This
Steven,
is the first 0.5.
I think it was 9.5. I think it was this one. I think Steven gave us our first 0.5. I don't think we've ever done a 0.5.
No, this is the first episode we've ever gotten a half score.
That's beautiful.
I was going to mention it, but we've now breached half
We've
points.
now breached. Now Alice is going to be like 3.3 repeating.
Wait, I
Shit.
gave G-Savior that high a score? I gave it 9.5?
No, you gave Big O Part 1 a 9.5.
Oh, yeah, I was going to
I
say,
was about
wow.
to say,
What?
There's no way you gave that a 9.5.
The correct answer to this question was actually 7. You gave G-Savior a 7.
I was going to guess that.
Yeah. I wasn't going to let you guess because you would have looked into your own psyche and just known probably. Okay, question 2 is for Nico.
Okay.
What is the only recorded hard stance that we have said on another podcast?
Oh, fuck. I think it has to be something we said on the, because it wasn't something we said on FTL, I don't think. Shit, now I feel like it may have been something we said on FTL and I haven't listened to the last episode that they dropped. Shit.
I haven't listened to any of them. I cannot listen to myself RP. I could not bring myself
episodes.
to do it.
Anyway.
I know they are. I believe they are. I just can't.
I don't know. I have no idea. Anybody else can jump
Does
in
anybody
if
else
you
want to
know
try to
the
take
hard stance.
try to take a crack at it?
I barely remember the stances we make
I know.
on this podcast. I have such amnesia.
We're so bad at remembering these. I almost made this another just like hard stance lightning round, but I'll delete this not to put Ghost on blast, but they have missed like the last 3 or 4 episodes. So I just didn't want to do that yet.
I can't believe they've done this. I'll bring it up with them.
I can't believe they've done this.
The free thing they do in their free time.
They were busy making a 50-page custom RPG. So, anyway, question 3 is for Steven.
Wait, what was the answer?
Oh, the answer was, it was actually in the giant robot jocks. Actually, I put part 2. What part were we on, Steven?
We were
part 2 was hot dog.
Yeah.
It was hot dog.
dog.
It was hot dog. It was that Sargon should have died.
Oh, yeah, I said that. How did I forget?
We did immediately remembered and immediately like had the flashback memory.
Because I thought he died,
Okay.
and then when they were like, no, he clearly didn't die, I was like, he should have died.
Should have, yeah. Was Sargon was the big meat-headed guy, right? Like the minor character, or was he the main character?
No, he was the run-up to Athena. He was one of the tubies.
He was, and we were talking about the jungle gym scene.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I
jungle
remember
gym
this
from
now.
hell.
Yeah. Fuck, I should watch that movie again. You can watch the movie a million times because it's literally the shortest movie ever made. It's so short and sweet. Anyway, we were talking about it on the Giant Robot FM Discord recently, which is why it's also still at the top of my mind. Steven, this is what are you a true fan, but are you a true fan of your co-host moment? What proclamation did PMC make about Christmas at the beginning of OSG's Endless Waltz episode?
Great question. How well do I know PMC?
He did skeet this out also. So just to prove that it's not like the most obscure thing in the world that I could possibly point to.
If I had to guess, based on his lapsed Irish Catholic upbringing, is he denouncing Christmas in some way? He's not a sentimentalist, so he wouldn't be taken with the trappings of Christmas like I am.
No. It's very neutral. It's an observation, I would say. It's not condemning or trying to reassign anything.
Well, this is one. I'm not sure if it's the one you're thinking of, but he believes that Cuckoo's Done's Island, the Gundam film, is a Christmas movie.
Oh, that's really good. I'm so happy to know that.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. That is not correct, but I almost want to give a half a point just because that's actually kind of a better answer than what he actually said.
So good.
Does anybody want to try to take a guess on this one?
I have no idea.
I got nothing. I have so much amnesia.
Nico, you were on that episode?
I was on that episode. I was
Yeah.
so at sea because I've never seen anything to do with Gundam Wing. I've never seen it.
With Christmas.
The only thing I've ever seen related to Christmas is Die Hard. So
the Christmas expanded universe.
You can see it in theaters in a few months.
Yeah, that's right.
yes,
I thought about
I
that,
can't
but I
wait.
was like, I am still so lost on that movie.
Can't believe I have to fly to so I can sit next to you guys.
I want to see it so bad.
Please.
I want to see it so bad.
That'd be great.
Okay, the answer is that Hero is the spirit of Christmas.
Now it's gone back to
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, like, immediately my amnesia's cured. Yep.
It's
Classically,
wild
for
how
those
being
who don't
told
know-
your memory will fix your amnesia.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Big whoa.
Big whoa, WOE for me.
This was a joke about Duo Maxwell's famous line that Hero is the spirit of a soldier. And so, yeah, going back to Alice, what was Steven's most hated G-Quux mobile suit?
Oh, fuck. If I remember right, and I was about to open the list of G-Quux specs, but I can't do that.
Oh, okay. Actually,
was it the Kikaroga?
Steven, is that correct?
No, at least it's changed if it was.
Okay,
What
no,
is
it is
it
not.
currently? Because it's a moving target.
Nico, you could try to guess if you want, even though you were not on those episodes and you have not seen this
So
media.
this was the most hated G-Quux.
Yes.
The red one.
Steven, is that correct?
It is correct. It is the Red Gundam.
Nico gets a point.
That's fucking wild, but so true.
That's the only one I know.
I actually just wrote the response for the retrospective episode. I compared it to something you would get a doctor to remove from your body, like something unwanted. It looks like a pustule.
Tom Esnable recently built the HG of that and posted in the Giant Robot FM Discord. It is the color on the gunpla at least is tumorous. It's not flattering. Anyway, okay, on to Nico. In what episode did we informally say that we were Shinzo Abe assassination deniers?
Oh my god. Was it the first part of Heavenly Tyrant?
No, unfortunately. It was I'll say it was earlier than that. Yeah.
Oh, earlier than that.
Yeah.
Oh, Pat Labor too.
Okay. You went way far in the opposite direction. Steven, do you want to try? You're not obligated to know this answer at all, of course, but do you want to try to guess?
I will say, just because it was on my mind in this episode, was it your Metal Gear Solid 3 episode? I'm just spitballing here.
No, that's a really good guess.
It's a good guess.
It was a similar conversation that we actually had in our Ghost in the Shell manga episode.
Oh,
we were very contraption pilled in that episode, and so it actually came up a surprising amount.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just in a general way, critical support for the most successful assassination of all time. Like the legislation that's going to get passed on coercive religious practices in Japan.
Is assassinating political figures...
OSG does not quote-unquote condone quote-unquote political quote-unquote violence of any kind.
Oh, boy. Okay, this next one's for Steven, but I'm going to apologize to Alice. What crime did Alice famously commit during a guest recording of Giant Robot FM?
Oh my god, I think I know what
Alice,
this was.
you committed a crime? I do not know.
a lot of crimes.
Can I try to steal?
Yeah.
Being the first person to mention cum on Giant Robot FM.
It took us that long, really?
I feel like Alice said something evil on the Robot Jocks episode.
I'm going to give half a point because that's another one where it's like that's kind of a better answer than the real answer. The real answer is that she deleted Steven and PMC's audio cue notes.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, and then that time we got PMC banned from Discord.
That was Steven.
That was me, unfortunately.
That was Steven, that's right.
I've transgressed so much against GRFM.
That was as far as I'm concerned, that's Discord's fault. And I'm still like in an in-between spot. Like I'm still flagged on Discord.
Really?
So I can't join. I'm too scared to join any new Discords or make new friend requests. So if I have to do that podcast work, I'll kick it to PMC, like, could you friend this person? Or ask the person, hey, can you friend me? Send me a friend invite. Because they think my read on this is they think I'm a bot. Because I send out so many friend requests for podcast
bot
reasons.
energies. I see that.
You have bot energies.
But, I think you can eventually learn to play the podcast with soul. So.
Oh, my God.
You said friend requests with soul.
We have to get Steven talking to the guy who gets sealed into the friend request mech against his will.
I don't use word processors. I use Excel. And I was like, oh, it gives you the notifications on the side for like corrections. I'll just click those to make them go away. Those were the audio cues. And I did not know.
I love how you said
that.
I don't use word processors. I use Excel instead. Like it's an either or situation.
There are two kinds of computer jobs. Ones that use Microsoft Word and ones that use Microsoft Excel. We do not consider the people who use Microsoft PowerPoint as workers, okay?
Fucking owned. Okay, Alice, are you ready?
Yeah.
What was our 30-second episode on?
30 seconds. Fuck, I don't know. I got amnesia. I'm so amnesic.
You gotta, this one you have to guess at least.
Any hints? Time frame, vibe-wise? Was it a joke 30-second episode?
No, it is unique in a way. There's something unique about it.
I don't know. I'm so stupid.
Name a woman. Okay, no. Does anybody want to try? Does anybody want to try to steal this one?
Was this Armor Stir Advent?
No.
Okay, dang.
Incorrect.
I thought that was. I feel like that's in the 30s, but it's been a while since I looked at our actual like list of episodes.
Well, what was unique about that one to you?
I think that was our
Curiously.
first interview. Or was that the one with Tankhead? I can't remember, but one of those was our first interview.
No, that was the first one. You're right. It was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. And the unique thing was that we recorded it in person and it sounded like shit.
We recorded that at your wedding.
Yes.
Well, not at the wedding, but after the wedding.
We recorded it at the wedding. That was just our 2-hour vows.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right, Nico. Who was the special little guy in the Robot Jocks episode?
Holy shit, the special little guy. It wasn't Tex because he had big bean energy.
Yeah, well, a knife is simple, using it ain't.
He's too big bean.
Oh shit, in the Robot Jocks. It wasn't the hot dog, was it? We didn't give it to the hot dog? Okay,
No.
we didn't give it to the hot dog. I was very afraid we had given it to the hot dog. Oh,
Does anybody else want
Alexander.
to try now?
Was it Alexander?
Yes, it was Alexander.
I was about to say it's Russian Guyevich.
Yeah,
It's gotta
Russian
be.
Guyevich. Hell yeah, crash and burn.
All right, we got one last question here. I had
Tastes
to
like
delete the bonus
blood.
question because what is Big Ear's name? Because I thought it was like an intertextual thing that you didn't know unless you knew other things. Okay. Stephen, what was your statement about Mark Curran? Ostensibly your first and only hard stance on the show that you said during our G Savior episode. It was a qualitative statement. It was a value judgment. I'll say that much.
All right, I could give you the general vibes.
Okay.
Because I'm warm on Mark. I must have said I recently said, and probably in the Discord, that he's like that the Robot Jocks guy is like a poor man's Mark Curran.
Yes. Sorry, I should clarify. I wrote this question poorly. The statement was actually about Brendan Elliott.
Yes, Brendan Elliott would be a. Oh damn. I think, well, the reason I said that Brendan Elliott is like, or I guess it was reversed, because I was thinking about Robot Jocks and whoever's the main guy in Robot Jocks who has some really dog shit takes and he's recently died.
Oh, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, whatever
For
his
sure.
name is, I said he's a poor man's Brendan Elliott, but that's probably not what you're looking for.
You said it during our episode.
Damn, I can't remember. Please enlighten me.
Anybody else?
Was it something about him being like the most Toronto-coded guy in the world or something?
Maybe kind of in an indirect way, but not really. All right. It was, and I quote, Brendan Elliott is a better actor than Glenn Powell, Tom Cruise, and Robert Downey Jr. combined.
Yeah, that was I remember that now.
So controversial, so brave.
Definitely Glenn Powell, I would say.
And I believe that was just like, your case was that he's been in way more movies than any of them.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I might have just wanted to be a little dick, and that's why I said it.
You stand by that, though?
What?
Yeah, I'll stand by that.
Nice. Okay, those are good.
Nice.
Very easy. I'm tallying it up really quick here. Nico wins with 1.5 points.
Yeah,
That's a clutch Red Gundam guess.
Y'all have serious amnesia. Yeah.
I am the only one with a memory. It's very valuable. I'm a mad scientist now.
Which is crazy because the one full point you got isn't out of a memory. It was a wild guess that you happened to nail.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I'm a mad scientist. What can I say?
Do we want to do? We don't have to do a letter. I have a little letter, but since
I think
we're
we
running
cut it
really
for
long.
time.
Yeah, I think we just say thank you, Stephen, for coming on, and thank you for producing the first Giant Robot FM Big O zine, which was huge for me. Like I said, I finished the show and I went, I know exactly where to go to my bookshelf where I have the physical version of the Giant Robot FM Big O Part 1 zine. And I read it cover to cover, and it was very informative. Even your citations are not dry. They're good citations to read.
Yeah, that's back when I wasn't like a complete sicko. I think there's like 12 citations in that first one.
It's
They were
very
like,
restrained. It was funny because I pulled all of the zines that I have out in a clump, and I was like, oh, this one is huge. This one is huge. This one's kind of modest. And it's like, yeah, no.
The Giant Robot zines are like a Matryoshka doll. Like they get visibly thicker as you go along. It's really good.
they would continue getting bigger, but because I want them staple bound, and that means we're capped at like 64 pages. Actually, Brian, this is a perfect opportunity to talk about how you joined the zine production team.
Yes. So the zine that's coming out, I think the only statement I could say without sounding like a douche is that it looks different than the zines have looked before.
It looks good.
I've seen some, I think, preview images at one point. I think you were fucking around at work and you were like, look at this like shape I
printed
made.
a couple things to be like, am I stupid? Does this work at all? It turns out it did. So everybody can relax.
Really good. Looks really good. And I just want to say I'm so happy we've gotten to see you grow as a designer. I mean, you changed jobs, but like you've gotten to do fun projects like our counterweight cookbook. And I feel like you've just continued to grow as a designer doing these kind of projects. And I'm so excited to see this scene. To get this scene.
By the way, to clarify, that was not me saying that the zines have ever looked anything less than good. I think that all of the zines have looked incredible so far. Just as a by.
Feel free.
I've also seen some zines that look really bad. So like I know I have seen the breadth of what humans are capable of. So
I have a zine downstairs that I picked up from a local bookstore, and about half the pages are screenshots of the zine author's tweets. And so I just want to say that there is a bar that is so low. But what I want to say to Steven is I want to appreciate Steven and the work at Giant Robot FM. I think the Big O zine 1 and 2 are very evocative of how the project of what you guys are doing over there has been able to expand and grow into this way where you're able to give the time and energy to really discuss, expand, and look into these medias fully. Right now you're in the Tokino book club, right? Tomino?
The writer of your favorite show?
I thought you were making like a Tokimeki memorial joke, Alice.
I would never make a joke in my life. But the way that you're able to you've created a community of creatives and people who can come together, celebrate these things. I do, honestly, I was surprised you didn't show up with a tweed jacket for this as the scholar that you are. But I love that you are out there doing this work so that we can do this silly little bullshit show and not feel like we have to do that heavy lift that you guys are doing. And I just want to really appreciate your writings, what you're putting out there. And I also want to shout out that you can pick up a copy of the Big O zine number 1 that was released to patrons of your Patreon. How would people get that, Steven?
So you could join, if you want upcoming zines, if you join at the $10, you'll be locked in for future zines. We usually announce the cutoff point when we do these streaming presentations. We call them state machines. They happen roughly 4 times a year, not like exactly every 3 months, whenever like we have enough news to talk about. One will be coming up. One actually, I guess, happened 2 weeks ago. If you're listening to this when it releases, but you could also stop by our Ko-fi page. We have a little storefront there, and you could purchase digital and physical copies of the zine. I bought a bunch of zines recently, so I'm filled to bursting with extra copies of zines, and I try to mail them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and we're great. You know, I wanted to let you know, by the way, because the Armored Core zine didn't make it to me, and then you sent out a new one, and that one made it to me. Like 3 months later, out of the blue, the other copy made it to me, and so I did gift it to a friend who loved Armored Core because I was like, you're gonna really enjoy this. But also, I don't know why the postal service. I have to imagine I'm on a rural route, so I imagine my post lady was just like, "This looks interesting," and kept it for 3 months, and then just shoved it in my mailbox.
I'm glad to hear that.
Into it.
I'm glad it actually eventually made it to you, because let's say I send out 60 zines per like new zine. I usually have to mail out 5 extra ones just because they get lost in transit somewhere.
Yeah,
it's all these people on the rural routes. They're really bored. They get those zines. They're like, sick. I'm gonna read this zine.
Can we get a run through? So because we know that there's a big the first one was a Big O zine, and we know that the next one coming up is a Big O 2 zine. Can we get a run through of what the zines have been so far?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So Big O zine number 1, Macross Plus for zine number 2, the Armored Core PlayStation trilogy. So that's Armored Core, Project Phantasma, and Master of Arena, zine number 3. If you're really interested in FromSoft history, I dove pretty deep into the origins of the company, so that might wet your whistle.
I gotta say, the Armored Core one has been my favorite one so far. I love that one. It's so good.
That was the most fun to research. A lot of sicko avenues I went down to find that information, which is just really like weird Reddit posts. And most recently, G-Savior. And I managed to ask Graham Campbell some questions because he responded. Yes. To be honest, you probably could have got Graham Campbell on for your coverage of the film, because I discovered that Graham Campbell has a website and answers. I mean, he has like a PR person who runs Go-Between, but he was on like a YouTube podcast thing, and that's how I when we were recording our podcast on G-Savior, I was doing a little research, and then I discovered that, and I was like, oh man, maybe I should make the next zine G-Savior.
Nice.
Hell yeah. And then I don't know if by the time this episode will be coming out, if your Universal Century Summer will have been out by now. Your Gundam Summer.
Yes. So we're in the thick of it right now. We covered the Mobile Suit Gundam novels, the 3, and we're in Zeta, and we'll be in Zeta until November sometime. But we're reading all 5
awesome.
Zeta books.
Awesome.
You're reading the Zeta books right now.
Yeah, we're recording in a few days. The first book corresponds to the first 5 episodes of Zeta, so I'm 4 episodes into my Zeta rewatch.
Oh, that's so
and
good.
I also, and one last thing, and I hate lavishing people with praise, but I feel like we should show appreciation for the effort that people put in. I do like that you did show up in the longest black car I've ever seen, wearing a tailored black suit with oiled up jet black hair, which is wild if people know what Steven looks like. And you kept checking your watch, which you were talking to PMC through, I think. So I really appreciate you just really selling the Big O for this episode.
I like that this posits that PMC like emerges from the earth periodically.
Yeah, that's real. Prove me wrong.
I was thinking about how the fuck Roger parallel parks that car. Anyway.
Oh, man. I saw a torturous video of someone trying to parallel park a smart car and failing miserably earlier today. It was so bad. All right. Do we have anything else? Are we good?
I think we're good. I would say thank you for finally making me watch The Big O after years, like decades, I must say, of just like seeing a commercial and going, I should get to that.
Well, that is this episode of On the Shoulders of Giants where we discussed Big O. Any parting thoughts?
Your sense of fashion, Brian, really reeks.
Thanks. I have a Ghost in the Taco Bell t-shirt. I feel weird about wearing this t-shirt out because it does have titties on it.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Ghost in the Shell poster. Anyway, all I have to say is if I had to pick a foreign language to repeat the exact same phrases that Roger says to Big O, I would choose... I hadn't actually chosen. I just came up with that sentence. I would probably choose Swedish because I bet it would sound really funny.
Baffling! Baffling! Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Huh.
I would choose actual Latin.
Yeah.
That sentence was a journey. I really appreciate it.
The ADHD of it all was me going, oh, I've got a great start of a sentence. Back half.
Steven, do you have any parting qualms?
I'll say I'm ravenously looking forward to your opinion on season 2, all of yours.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to the same address. You can also catch up with us on our social media. Links are in the description for episodes more. You can check out our Discord. We have a Ko-Fi. We don't say we say this in the break a lot, but we never say on the show. You should rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We haven't gotten a new one in like quite a while, so I'm like out here with an alms cup, like validate me.
I do think also, Pocket Casts has now added the ability to at least add stars, which is nice. So hey, if you're one of our many users who use Pocket Casts, including me now, you can now rate shows on. I went through all my podcasts and was just rating.
I believe we are the most popular on Pocket Cast. Like that's our biggest avenue. That's also where we have the most 5 stars, which is interesting.
That's how I listen to you guys.
Yep, me too.
I use Pocket Cast.
I had never used it. All right, well, make sure to check back in 2 weeks when we'll be discussing something I remember.
Martian Successor Nadesco. It's time.
It's coming.
I have to start watching that shit today. We're doing all 26 episodes.
It's the best way to cover it.
Can I get a quick vibe check? Is it because it's not very dense? Like, am I going to suffer for having to cram all this information or no?
Not really. I think it's a parody show.
It's a joke show. Yeah. Okay.
I think if we were covering the movie too, you would be in trouble because the movie takes itself quite seriously. But I think we'll be fine.
Steven, you've seen this, right?
It's been a while. You'll have a good time. It's beautifully animated, like mid 90s. Well, I guess late 90s peak.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Banger openings, banger closings.
There's like there's a related OVA too, because there's like a fictional mecha property that exists in the show.
Yeah, Geki Ganger.
Interesting. All right. That's it. Goodbye. I love you. Boom.
Big O, I love you.
I just want a hug from Big O. Goodbye. I love you.
I love you all.